Hey guys, y'all sit up here. Look at that view. We'll get this show started. Fall colors are starting to come in. We got a little bit of work to do on the build today, and we're going to be working inside the structure rather than on the outside this time, so we can get that inside wall changed up like I wanted to do on our last live stream, and it didn't happen. But we're going to be doing that today, so we'll get that out of the way. We're just giving everybody a chance to get in here for a minute, and I can sit down and talk to you guys. Turn this around. It's not working. There we go. Oh, we got a glitch. My iPhone don't want to turn around. Don't want to switch back over to the front view cam. That's going to be a problem. So we're just going to start off with this technical difficulty. That's going to a mirror image. Check this out. We got that way, and then I hit it, and it goes that way. So I'm getting a mirror image. That's weird. That might pose a problem. First time that's ever happened. So the reverse on my camera, let's try something else here, is giving me a mirror image rather than going from my front camera to my back camera. Why that would be happening, I have no idea, but we're going to go on with the show anyway. We'll see if we can figure that out a little bit later while we're getting set up and working through our technical difficulties for the day. If you could, please share this out on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, wherever you guys share your shit. Let everybody know that we're live streaming. Get your friends in here so they can come and see this shit happening live. We do have a little bit of clay mixed up back here to get our wall chinked up with. We already have the crystals on the inside. We will have to go down to the creek and gather up our blue shale that we're going to need for our candle holders, but the pit's all ready to go. Our fireplace set up real nice. Top stones got cleared off in the last rainstorm that we had. So we're going to be closing in the inside of this wall, putting our candle holders into the wall while we're doing that with the blue shale arch behind the candle holders. We're going to be getting that done today, and then we're going to start thinking about how we're going to level this box right here out and close all that in to run our chimney up. So that's what's going on today. But with this technical difficulty of not being able to turn my camera around, I'm going to have a hard time seeing that damn chat window and being able to talk to you guys while we're doing the build. A few more minutes here, get settled in. So when I do turn the camera around, I'm just actually going to be turning the camera around, and I will not be able to see the chat window. So we'll have to work with it, guys. We'll have to work with it. I do have one other piece of gear that I brought with me today. We got us. This being the 22nd episode of the live Bushcraft build series, we brought us out a brand new bottle of cognac to celebrate. So we're getting ready to wrap up the live Bushcraft build series. I mean, we're getting to the inside work now. All we gotta do really is close in our fireplace, and the series is pretty much done as far as the how-to guide on to set this up. So we're gonna be sitting down here a little bit later and drinking on a bottle of cognac. Pretty cool. This stuff tastes like bourbon and wildflowers. It's delicious. We're gonna go on inside the shelter here. Outside walls are doing good. I'm actually gonna be scraping these today too. I'm thinking I gotta scrape off to where I can get exposed wood so I can stain the wood beams dark brown. So we have the light chinking, the blue encrusting, and then we'll have dark brown beams on the outside. It's going to be a very colorful fucking shelter. What we are going to be working on in here today is that up there. So I have a little bit too large of an air vent there at the top. We're going to be closing that in. But basically I'm just going to be covering that wall there, that wood wall there, in clay, and getting it all sealed up here on the inside. And while we're doing that, we're going to be embedding this bag. Whoa. Yeah, more technical difficulties. We're going to be embedding this bag of crystals and sea glass into the wall. So as we're putting the clay on, we're also going to be embedding these stones, semi-precious stones, crystals, and bits of sea glass into the wall to give it a little bit of a unique texture. And then we got our stones right up there that we're going to be shoving in between those beams to be able to set candles up on top of. So we have the fireplace going down here. We have 2 candle holders that are built right into the wall up top. So, hey Tyler, that's how we're going to be doing this. I said I got clay there on the outside to start chinking this up with. Once we get that first layer of clay on, then we can start embedding our bag of crystals here into the wall. And that bag right there is going to cover that wall pretty well with the candle holders in there. So first order of business is I got to figure out exactly where I want to put the candle holders and whittle the wood out enough to put those stones in. So we'll get started doing that. Just let me get the tripod up here a little bit higher so you guys can see some better what I'm actually doing here. Yep, a bag of crystals. We brought out a bag of crystals to embed into this wall while we put our clay on there. But first we got to get our candle holders in. So I don't want them too high because, you know, candle heat going up. We don't want that starting to singe the wood at the top. Don't want them too low. It's got to be about just probably the second beam right here, just off to the side of each side of the fireplace. We'll put them in right there. So to do that, this wall is already solid. So to do that, I'll just take my knife and I'll cut out a flat surface on the wood here, wedge the stone in there, and then whenever we put the clay on, it'll seal that stone in, and we'll be able to set a candle right on top of it, or oil lantern or whatever else it is we want to put up there. Oh, there goes the traffic for the day. Let's get this started here. I'm gonna move you guys off to this side since I'm gonna be doing the work right there. Hopefully everybody can see everything okay. And we got some new people in here. Thanks for stopping by. I'm not gonna be able to see the chat window here for a second while I'm doing this work. So if I miss your comments, I apologize. I will go back and watch a replay of this live stream later on tonight, and I'll catch up with your comments there. Otherwise, just wait for me to come back and start talking. So, I got 2 relatively flat stones here. I got a little bit wider gap down there than I do here, so I want my thinner stone over here. And all I really got to do is shave off enough of this wood in here to be able to knock the stone in there. I just need a flat surface. The stone will slide right across that flat surface. And we're going to tap it in with the axe anyway. That's pretty good. And we did it right about there. See if we can tap that in just like that. Going deep enough. We gotta make sure this is fitted in between these beams nice and tight where it'll hold the weight of the candle or the oil lantern or whatever it is we want to set up on it. I do have a couple of small oil lamps that burn for a few hours that we could put up here. That might work. Got wood out of there. Try that again. Yeah, I figure if it'll hold the weight of my axe, it'll hold the weight of a candle, plus it'll have all of the clay chinking around it, so it'll bring that out a little bit more. So that's pretty good right there. And we just got to do the other side. Kind of what I'm going for here is, let's say that was my candle. I'd just be sitting it up right like that. And it's built right into the wall. But in order to do this kind of thing, you got to be thinking about it while you're actually building the damn wall. So now we're going to do the other side here. Same principle, but we want it kind of evened out with the other stone. We want them about the same distance from the walls and on the same edge of the fireplace. So we'll go right about in here. And on this side, I got to actually dig out some of the chinking. And this stuff is going to be really hard. The reason I got to dig this out here is because it's squeezed through so far whenever we chink these up from the other side of the wall. It's like digging out stones. In there pretty deep actually. There we go. Nice opening. And then we can seal it up from both sides. And again, to test the weight on that, we'll just set our axe up there. If it holds the weight of the axe, it'll hold the weight of a candle. Pretty good. Alright. So there we have our two candle holders embedded right into the wall. And now all we gotta do is go outside and get our clay and start chinking this up. So those candle holders will be sealed right into the wall with the chinking. So that'll give them a little bit more stability too. We'll go out here right quick. So I didn't want to close in the fireplace just yet because our clay pit is back here at the back where we mix up all of our cob and chinking. It's back here at the back, and rather than carrying it all the way around to the front, we're just going to slide it, we'll put it in the quarter around there, and then we'll lay it right in the fireplace, and then I'll have to go around and we can start sealing up that inside wall and putting the crystals in. So I guess we'll start doing that right quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you guys on the inside. I'll come back out here, I'll get the clay, and then we'll start working. Let's take a little walk real quick before we get too deep into the episode. We did have rain come in the past couple of days, and we had a good hard rain, and it actually washed off our crystal a little bit. We still need to scrub it down and get the actual crystal facets to be showing up a little bit better, but we'll go up here and look at this right quick before we decide to get muddy. So there's our crystal right now. And you can see right here how the all of the clay and everything is starting to come off of it. And especially over here on this surface where it got washed off with that last rain. We still got to scrub this down with a wire brush, but you can see the rose quartz starting to pop out there, the white quartz, and then you got some clear facets over here. You got crystal encrusting right here. So it's got a lot of unique attributes to it. It just needs a lot more cleaning. By next spring it should be looking pretty good. But I'll keep taking a wire brush to it, cleaning off all of that dirt. You can see all of that dirt in the crevices. And all of this staining will start fading off too. But crystal looking pretty good so far. We do love that crystal. Alright, let's get up here and get muddy. So that I was saying there before I came up to look at this, I'm going to set you guys inside the build. And then I'm just going to start hauling the clay in that quarter round. I don't have enough to cover the whole wall, I know that, but I know I have another basket ready to go down by the creek, so we might run down there and grab that and mix it up, because I want to get as much of this wall done today as I can. So I got a little over one basket in the pit. We got another half a pit ready there to mix up, and another pit down at the creek, so we should be okay. And then we'll get up high enough for at least the candle holders. That's where I want to get. We'll get that crystal embedded into the wall up to that point. That'll be easy. And then we'll start fitting our blue shell backing for those candle holders. So I'm just going to have you guys sit up back here so you can hopefully see the process. And I'm going to focus on actually getting some work done today. So there's the wall that I'm going to be in. I'm just going to be covering that in clay right now. I'll just get everything out of my way because I'm about to get muddy. And then once I get this all mudded up, and we'll run down to the creek and I'll wash up. I have to wash my hands before I can put the crystal in there. Otherwise, I'm just going to be covering the crystals with the clay that's on my hands. So it's a couple of step process to do something like this, but it won't take us too long either. We should have this done in maybe 15-20 minutes, depending on how much I fuck around. So I'm gonna go out there, I'll get the quarter round filled up, I'll bring it back in. While I'm doing that, if you guys could share this out, if you haven't shared it out, please share this out on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, whatever social media pages you prefer. Let everybody know that we're live streaming. Tell them they ought to come and see this shit, because they ain't gonna see this kind of shit anywhere else. And hit that thumbs up, appreciate it. Alright, get a little light out of the way there. And I'm going to start with, right around the stones, because I don't want any vibration that I'm putting on the wall to knock the stones right out. I need them sealed up first, so we'll start with just sealing these right in, making sure that, since I'm focused on these, I can make sure that the chinking is underneath the cracks really well and shoved in there, and I'm not distracted by the rest of the wall. The only thing is to make these as stable as possible. Not that they have to hold a lot of weight. It's just if you're going to do something, you might as well fucking do it right. So just make sure that's sealed up all the way around. Make sure that our clay is going all the way back into the beam and meeting up with the chinking from the other side. That's the key. We can always clean the top of the stones off later. If there's a little excess on it, that don't matter. And then here at the bottom, where the weight's going to be, I want to make sure that it's flush with the outside of the beam. I don't want to dip there. And we can just start working our way across the wall once we get these sealed up. Now on this one here, I have to remember to go back outside and put a little bit of chinking in on the outside too, where I knocked it out to fit the stone in. Otherwise, it's going to leave a hole there, and that hole will catch water and cause us problems later on. This whole entire wall is basically a jacked up fire reflector that actually works with the science of how heat moves. And it's got added features. Okay, that's set in there pretty good. Now I just need to start covering the whole wall. Again, on the wall, there's a focus on the outside edges, especially over by the beams, because that's where your shift is going to happen. You want a little bit of shift to be able to happen. You don't want everything rock hard because it's just going to crack on you. It's got to be able to move a little bit, hence the gapping. It's got to move while it dries and while it settles. We can make it airtight next year, not this year. Wouldn't be a good idea to try to seal this up completely airtight this year, because over winter it's going to shrink and swell. It's going to settle to the ground a little bit more. Then whenever the spring thaw comes around, it's going to shift even more, and we don't want this thing in like solid rock hard until all of that shifting is kind of out of the way. Focus on the cracks first, and then we'll level it out later. Reason we're working on the inside today is because we need a lot of stability to this wall, because we're going to be running our chimney right up the middle of it. So we're going to be bringing this in a little bit and then running the chimney up, and this has got to be able to support that weight of the chimney. So it's got to be done so it has time to dry out and everything's cool before we do the chimney part. We can close this in, but running the chimney up, this wall's got to be dry. And actually I have to get my bottle of water. There's some dry clay in here. Not really dry, but not the kind of consistency that I want. This is really gummy. I could use just a tad bit, like maybe a quarter cup more water to it. It would help smooth it out a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I don't like this consistency. Not hard to get the extra moisture in the clay. With what I already got on, I'll just pour it on my hands and smooth that out up there. But I can add a little bit more water if I can get the clay to quit sliding around on my hands to what's in the basket here, and it'll just help things go along a little bit better. You see how it's almost like cookie dough. That's the wrong consistency. If I have it too wet, it'll slide right off. If I have it too dry, then it sort of clumps up and falls off. There we go. That should help. See how that just slides now? That's the way it should be. Where I can make that nice and smooth just running my hand over it. That's beautiful. Don't want it any more complicated than it actually is. People always trying to overcomplicate shit. We're trying to come up with simple fucking answers to complex fucking problems. Sometimes you just need a little more water. And that looks a lot better that way than it did when we first started putting it on. So, and we're already smoothing out better. Work around our stone a little bit. Don't want no dips or anything around those stones. Get all them air bubbles worked out. Now weathering is not going to happen obviously on this inside wall, so we're going to smooth it out. We're going to try to make it fairly level, almost completely level, where it's just like a panel rather than seeing the ribs of the wood. And that'll stay that way just because rain will never get to it. So this inside wall is kind of important because rain will never get to it. We don't have to worry about weathering. We don't have to worry about absorbing moisture, or a lot of moisture anyway. Of course there's the humidity factor, but that's not enough to loosen up the chinking. So this is kind of the lock. The outside is the moving piece. It'll shrink and swell. This inside won't. As you can see, I'm just sort of doing two lines rather than doing the whole wall at the same time. It's better to start at the bottom and work your way up. Keep the weight down at the bottom of the wall, that low center of gravity as you're working your way up. That way you don't get any instability as you're working. You don't want to like do a section here and a section here and a section here. It's just throwing all that weight off too much. It's better to have your weight down at the bottom. Good solid foundation for the rest of the wall. A little more water to smooth that out. Pretty simple. Right out again on me. Clumped and fell off. The thicker stuff is okay when you have a big hole, because you can shove it right in that hole and seal all that up. But you want the thinner, a little bit thinner texture to spread out over a wall and get it smooth. You see how this is kind of, I don't know how well you guys can see it or not, how this is kind of cookie-ing. And it's got that, it's just a little bit too dry, so that's where I'll take the, just pour water on my hand, not even cut my hand, just have my hand wet, and rub over that and it'll smooth it right out. Get the top part of our stone there. Candle holders are going to be a nice feature. Yeah. this dries out, we still got to put small pieces of wood in this side and run chinking all the way down there. We're going to want to run a channel where the chinking going down this edge here is kind of like bowl shaped, where water runs down it, kind of like an eave spout. That's got to be done after this wall's done, because this wall is going to be moving around with all this shit going on with it. Smooth that out right quick. A little water. This is fucking artwork right here. Just like that. Now our stones, we don't have to worry about how messy they are or anything like that, because we can just take a rag and buff them off and clean all that clay off after the wall dries. The pretty stuff comes later. And we're going to keep running the chinking up until I run out of clay. Then I'll run down to the creek and we'll wash up and we'll start embedding some of the crystal into this wall. I have a fairly heavy gap here that I need to, it's going to take a little bit more to fill that in. While I'm doing this, the most important thing is that this wet clay is meeting up with the dry clay on the other side and is sort of locking together. Because if I have airspace in between, that's not really a bad thing, because it leaves breathing room for the wall, but it's not really giving me the stability I'm after if the chinking's not locking together on both sides. Again, this is drying out a little bit too much. Another big gap here we want to make sure we got filled in. We want the wall, by the time we get this done, we'll have to put another layer on it to fill in the cracking after this first layer dries, but we want this wall pretty well level all the way across on the inside. So it'll take a little bit more clay in some areas and a little bit less in the others to just make this one smooth panel, or appear as one smooth panel anyway. It's going to end up looking like a rock wall, but it's got a wood core. And again, right here at the top, we'll have a little bit of extra clay going up in these sections here to be able to embed our arch of blue shale in there. We'll have that pressed up against there, and it'll help protect the wood from the candle flame if we happen to have an open flame setting up against the wall. The clay will obviously protect it some, but just having that blue shale in the back will give it a bit of a light reflector. So if we do set a small candle up here, it'll reflect off of that arch and back into the shelter a little better. It'll also reflect the heat off the candle away from the wood and back out here to open air where it's not going to hurt anything. If we're using an oil lamp, obviously the globe will control the heat around the wall, so we don't have to worry about a fire. But That does cross your mind, even whenever you know that this wall is never going to catch on fire. You're thinking about, okay, how can I, if I'm going to have an open flame right up here against the wall, how can I protect the wall? Even if it doesn't need protection just by design. Not a bad thing to think about, I suppose. Alright, so that's our first basket. We got about halfway up. Let's smooth this out a little bit more with the excess that's on my hands and the excess that's here in our basket. Waste not, whatnot. This also helps work out those air bubbles that are right underneath the surface of the clay. So you just sort of rub along there. Make sure your beams are entirely covered, because if you're going to have it, you know, you're going to have clay on the wall, you might as well go ahead and completely encase the beams. That way they get that extra protection. Try to keep my hand strokes horizontal with the wall. I don't want to be leaving swirls in it. Kind of like painting. And I'm literally using every bit of what I got in that quarter round of wood to do this. Even the excess that I have on my hands now, you know, just wipe it on the beams. That's less coating I have to do later. Alright, so that's our first basket. We're going to have to mix up another basket of clay to keep on going. But before we get to our next basket of clay, we're going to go down and wash up and start getting some of this crystal put in here. So let's take a little walk here. Just going down here to the creek. Again, I have to wash my hands off. I have to wash the clay off my hands before I can start embedding the crystal, or it's going to cover the crystal in clay, and then I'll have to go back and buff them off later, and it'll just be a pain in the ass. Better just put them in clean. Let me sit you guys right here by the old crystal pool. Alright. Now we can get back to work. Oh, sorry about the sun flare there, guys. Look at them fall colors starting to pop in the canopy. Yep, clear water. We do have clear water for the most part, and down there in that emerald pool. Fall colors are coming in quick. The camp is looking a little bit different than it did when we first started out. But she's coming together nice. We'll take a little bit of a walk here later on. I'll sit down and talk with you guys while I'm putting the crystal in this wall. Hey Jefferson, I'm gonna sit down here with you guys. Now if I try to turn my camera around, my technical difficulty for the day, if I try to turn my camera around, I get a mirror image rather than it switching to my forward camera. So you guys aren't gonna see me much, but I'm gonna sit back here behind the camera where I can see you. So, guys, share this out on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. Let everybody know that we're streaming. We're almost up our wall. Once we get up our wall, then we move on to a whole different project. For those of you just coming in, these two stones that you see on the wall here, those are candle holders that we built right into the wall. And our next step is to embed some sea glass, semi-precious stones, and crystals into the chinking of the inside wall, just for decorative fucking reasons. Serves absolutely no purpose whatsoever, except for the fact that whenever I get this done, it'll be a bushcraft build unlike anybody else's bushcraft build, because they ain't thinking about the shit I'm thinking about. Who we all got in here? I see 10 on my end. Appreciate everybody that stopped by. Now we have 11. Everybody say hi. Let's do a roll call. Who's in the room so I can say hi to you while I can see the chat window? Yep, still mirror image. Man, that's weird. My iPhone updated, and now instead of turning around, hey Rod, now instead of turning around to the other cam, it's just giving me a mirror image. Fucking weird. Always something. For those of you who just tuned in, this is like the 22nd episode of the live Bushcraft build series. And to celebrate the 22nd episode, we're going to be busting into this bottle of cognac here a little bit later on after I get this wall done. So we get the wall done, we bust out the booze. We'll be sitting out in the front yard for a little talk while we're drinking on this bottle of cognac. In the meantime, guys, I'm going to back you up a little bit more and start putting the crystal in the wall. And then we're going to mix up 2 handfuls of extra clay for the top part of our, hey Rich, glad you're here. 2 handfuls, just 2 handfuls of extra clay to put our arches in above the candle holders on both sides of the wall there. So I'll back you up a little bit more. I'm going to start putting these crystals in. And then we'll take a look at how that's turning out. So. Progress. Oh, that made it dark back there. Let's see if I can get you a little bit more light. There we go. Should make it slippery. This is artwork right here, guys. Nothing but artwork. But in order to do this kind of thing, you got to do it while you're building. You can't do it later on. It's not like you can go back and say, oh, let's do this. It just won't hold up right. I'm trying to use different colors. So we got green, white, blue, pink, red, clear, citrine, amethyst. We got some pretty good amethyst points. And again, this serves absolutely no purpose whatsoever aside from the fact that Huntsman has a crystal wall inside of his bushcraft build. Who the fuck does that? Oh, we don't want that there because we're going to do our arch there. I need a gap for that one. That looks heavy. Now on the beams themselves, I could always add a little extra piece, like a little extra clay on the beam itself, maybe, and try to embed a stone into that extra clay. and then smooth out the edges. So that actually works, and that would probably hold. We'll try a couple of pieces, a couple of the smaller pieces or the couple of the flatter pieces that will actually press up against the beam. So we don't have these lines of crystal and lines of beam. It'll just all be into it, no nothing. We want it as natural as, or unnatural as possible. And that's actually a very good piece of quartz crystal. You can see right through that one. We'll put that up here where the light reflects off of it from the candle. Just embed that right there, that crystal point. So when you have a candle sitting up here, you have light sparkling off of the back wall. So clear glass, some greens, the quartz crystals, maybe some of the semi-precious stones, crystals like this here, we want to put right on both sides, flanking the candlelight. So we're actually harnessing the light with the crystals on the wall. And that's what I'm hoping for. Like the overall vision is when we have the fire going, or we have candles up on this wall, you see this sort of twinkle in the wall, and it's just that much brighter. Applying this to a survival scenario, this would just be morale. It's a psychological thing. It's not so goddamn bland. Plus, it's good to keep your imagination going. Whenever you're doing a build, whether you're, building a small shelter or an open shelter or anything, you're always using your imagination. And this is just taking that idea 1,000 steps further. Everything that we do out here is imagination. You have to imagine it, then you get out to the woods and you create whatever vision you had in your head. So you're taking your dreams and forcing them into reality. And I think the world's missing that. Nobody dreams anymore. Nobody wants to imagine anything anymore. They want to limit themselves all the way around. Everybody wants to be the same. Like lemming syndrome. This is a slow and tedious process, ain't it? Try to speed this up a little bit more. I love the blue ones. Blue used to be my favorite color, but now it's kind of green. Favorite green now. Every once in a while you see me run my finger around the edge, and that's just to close in a gap. Get it a little bit tighter into the wall. Again, this wall is going to dry, it's going to shrink, it's going to crack. And we got to put another layer over top of it to fill all that in. Basically just wash it down again. We'll have to work around our crystals while we're doing that. It's a process. Ooh, rose quartz. Nice polished piece of rose quartz. We'll put that right in the middle of the fireplace. That's a pretty good crystal point. Sticking right out there. There are places in this forest where we have crystal caves or crystal ledges where the seabed, the ancient seabed, is kind of exposed, and it looks a lot like this. You just see this cluster of different kinds of stones and crystals that used to make up the bottom of the seabed. So we're kind of replicating that a little bit. It's just a little bit more spread out. Now if I go out and I gather up more of these crystals and sea glass and all this other shit that you see me embedding into the wall here, then we can always add to it. I want to bring this one back so I can show you guys this one up close, if I can. I don't know how well The camera's gonna zoom in on this one. Check that one out. Yeah, it froze up there a little bit. Sorry about that. We're gonna have to get you guys plugged in. These are the kind of crystals that I'm putting inside the wall there now. That's a fairy stone. That's the kind of gemstone. This is a semi-precious stone. It's called a fairy tear. We'll take a little bit closer look at some of the pieces that I got here in a minute. I got to get you guys plugged in. I can only stream for about an hour before we got to hook you guys up to life support. And the hour's just about up. So that's what that pause was there, that break. That's where I had the 20% warning on my phone. And that whenever that warning comes up, it tends to freeze the stream. So I apologize for that. I didn't see it. Again, I can't see the damn window because it's not letting me turn things around today. We'll get you guys hooked up and we're good to go. I'll grab that bag of crystals and I'll show you a couple examples of what I'm embedding into the wall, and then we'll go up there and take a closer look at the wall. Alright, now you guys are hooked up. You should be okay. So, and just grab a few examples here of the kind of stones that we're putting into the wall. Some of them's raw, some of them's polished, some of it's sea glass, some of it's like the crystal you just saw. Some of it is even pyrite, a little tiny piece of pyrite. I don't know how well this is going to focus in on these, but that's pyrite right there. So we're going to have gold in the wall too. And then we got semi-precious stones like bloodstone. We should get to better light. Let's take this to better light. Oh. I'll tell you what. Sorry for shakiness. I'm going to take you off the mount here. There we go. More technical difficulties. Again, taking a look at the crystals we're embedding into the wall. Garnet, bloodstone, some quartz, some raw pieces of the seabed that used to be around here. Most of this was gathered up right down in the creek. And then we got more special pieces like what I showed you guys there earlier with the fairy tears, or the fairy stones that we're putting in. Those are called fairy stones or elf stones, depending on which mythology you're looking at. Very rare. I only have like 5 of these in the collection. So that's what we're doing on our decorative purposes here. Let me get you guys mounted back up and we'll get back to work. A little bit more boring of an episode this time, but we're going to sit down here in a little bit and drink our cognac and hang out. So we just want to get as much of this wall done today as we can. And it's starting to get dark on us already, or at least it's starting to get dark in here. There you can see how we're embedding all of this different color and all of these crystals into the wall. Don't really want straight lines. I want them kind of, you know, just off wherever. I'm not really even thinking about it. It's not like I'm stepping away and taking a look at the pattern or lack thereof. I'm just shoving the damn stones in there, trying to get all the way across and get it done before it dries up. So we'll get these beams all filled in with the crystals that we got here, and then we're going to do our arches behind the candle holders. Right there's that fairy stone I just showed you guys. All different colors, all different types of crystals, glass, stone. Even got some green pieces. That's malachite right there. That's the same as my necklace. We'll put that right above the fireplace too. We can embed that right there. More pyrite. Again, no pattern, no color scheme, no nothing, just encrusting the whole wall as best we can. There's another of the fairy stones. Keep them towards the middle, that way the fire reflects off of them. Get that kind of rainbow purple color in there. Even got some turquoise that we're putting into this wall. So we got the crystal out there in the meadow. Got a new crystal necklace too, because I'm going to miss the green of the forest in the wintertime. So I got a malachite crystal necklace, which is a kind of a ruby green without the cost of it being a ruby. And then we got the crystal wall inside the build. So a lot of crystal shit we have to remove. Again, both sides of the candle we want whites and clear quartz. It'll help reflect the light, twinkle the light off of the candle light when we get it up there. We do not want to put anything right above the stone because we're going to be putting a blue shell arch in there here in a second. We can put them under it though, and just off to the sides where the crystals kind of catch that light. Put a little bit. A little bit more green. I don't want to overthink it. I'm trying not to think at all while I'm doing this. I'm just going through and embedding stones and crystals into the wall. However they look is how they look. I think it's coming out pretty good for not thinking about it. You can get a flint in there. If I ever need a flint, I got one embedded into my wall. I just pry it out and use it for a fire starter. I could use the quartz for fire starter too. Quartz hard enough to strike a fire off a quartz crystal. And some smaller pieces over on this side. The deeper I get into the bag, the bigger the pieces tend to get. Obviously. So we just put a couple of fragments here all around, and then we're going to move on to our next step. We can add a little bit more to this here in a second. We still got quite a bit to go, but we still got a little bit more wall to do there too. So I don't want to run out. I got a hell of a lot more at home, but I don't want to run out of what's in the bag. So we'll go ahead and try to get up a little bit higher on the wall, fill that up there in, and then whatever we got left we can spread out over the wall before it dries out completely. But our next step is to go get our blue shale. So that's what we're going to do right here. Real quick is we're going to take a little walk here. Sit you guys down for a quick second. We got to go down to the creek and get us some clean shale to put our arches in behind our candle holders. So we'll go down here and take a look, see what we can find. I did not gather this up in advance, so I'll just get down here and find a clump of it, and that I could either break up on the floor or something like that, and I'll just put it in the pouch of my hoodie and carry it back up there. Don't need a lot, just need enough for an arch. There goes a fucking, yeah, here's actually some right there, but it's a little dark. That would be too easy just picking it up there, wouldn't it? Let's go down here to the creek. That way we can just get a change of scenery instead of staring at Huntsman's crystal wall. Now this right here is the chunk that we took out of for our chinking on the front wall. This is actually a very good, nice light color, and it tends to be clean. So I'm just going to take handfuls of this here and shove it into my pouch of my hoodie, because I need the finer pieces too. I need smaller pieces to make these arches with, and I don't want anything real thick. So rather than, making it all complicated, we'll just take all of this kind of material like that. Make sure that I have enough. It's not like you can have too much of this stuff, because I got this integrated into like everything up there around the build. So whatever excess I have, I just throw out into the front yard and it'll fit right in. Hey, Jay and the Sticks. Thanks for stopping by, buddy. We're about to put the back side of our candle holders on, which means I gotta get a little bit more clay. Make that a little thicker back there. We're gonna drop this blue shale off there on the floor. I gotta go grab some clay, and then obviously put the clay on there, and then wash my hands off again in order to embed the blue shale arches behind our candle holders. So that's what we're gonna be doing next. Again, just putting the back side of the candle holder on there, that's like a 4-step process. And it's getting a little dark in here. We're gonna have to get the light hooked up. Yeah, you're not too late. Just let me drop off this shale here. We got another, for those of you who didn't see it, I don't know if anybody new came in or not, but we have another one of the fairy stones here that we're gonna, there it is. That's the kind of crystals we're embedding into the wall. So we got another one here. We want these right above the fireplace. We'll put that one right there. Alright, and drop off this blue shell right here. Where I don't have to lug it around inside of my hoodie. Should have enough to do these arches with what we just picked up. I gotta grab a couple of handfuls here of clay. We want this a little bit thicker. I'll show you. You guys will see what I'm saying here in a second. Just give me one quick second. Alright, so Let me see if I can get you guys at a half-ass decent angle here. Might have to turn the light on. It's getting a little dark here inside the build. Might be okay there. Alright, let's see what we can do here. So I just got the extra clay out of the pit. I want to make sure that don't have any big clumps in what I'm working with here. Now, behind my candle holder, I don't need it too thick, but what I'm wanting to do is basically form an arch back here. So I'll put the excess clay on there. And then I just need it as wide as the candle holder itself. Just bring that down to where it meets the stone, and then start forming that into a level arch. It's kind of like a decorative work right into the clay of the wall. Excess on my hands. I'm going to smooth that out a bit. Get all the air bubbles worked out of it. Just tapping it with your finger, work that air out, and then smooth it back over. Make sure it's you got a good line where it's blended right in with the clay that's on the wall, so there's no gap behind it. Both sides. Kind of like that. Make sure your lines are nice and sharp. Kind of just trace it with your finger and make that nice smooth arch shape, almost like a bell shape, just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side before we wash the clay off of our hands. So I'll show you guys an up close of that real quick. You see what I did there? And then we'll cover that in blue shale. But before we wash our hands off, so we can actually work with the blue shale and not get it all dirty, we're going to go ahead and do that same process over here on the other candle holder. Again, just like we did on that other side, make sure there's no big clumps inside of the clay. I only need like a handful. You can always add a little bit more if you want to. Don't need it real thick. This is just a backing for the stone. It's kind of a decorative piece, but it also protects your wall from the fire of your candle or your oil lantern, whatever you're using up there. So just a clump, kind of elongated almost into a square. Push it right up against the wall, and then just start forming it into that arch pattern by dragging it down. Drag it from the top down, it makes it easier, and then just sort of blend it right in with the edges of your stone. As you get it up in there and it starts fitting a little bit better, press it down. That spreads it out so you don't have to add extra to it, and it gives you the thickness that you want. So you just keep pressing it down to the thickness that you want. Keep tracing your outside edges. Make sure that your back line where it meets up against the wall is completely filled in. You don't want any kind of air bubbles or gaps back there, because it'll make it fall off of the wall. So you want that real nice seal with the clay that's on the wall, and you just form it up. Form it right to the stone itself. Make sure all of your lines are right. Get some of this excess off of my hands. And then I just add a little water to my hands and smear it on my hands, get messy with it. And that helps me to just kind of go over that and smooth it all out, where it don't stick to my hands. trying to sort of kind of match it up. It doesn't have to be perfectly matched with the other side. A little uniqueness with each one would probably be okay. Unless you got, you know, OCD. But if you got OCD, you shouldn't be doing like anything like I'm doing right here anyway. It's a little thick right there at the top, so we'll bring that up just a little bit more to send that out. Keep our bell shape right there. Okay, so we're going to take some of that out. Got a little too much clay there at the bottom. I don't want to be taking up the whole ledge that I want to set my candle on. That one came out a little thick. I kept trying to spread it up, but it's just had to cut some of that. Had too much on there. Alright, that's pretty good. Just like that. Take a closer look at this one, and then we gotta go wash our hands off so we can embed the chinking. Just like that. So we got our stone ledge and then our clay back on both sides, so you can sort of see the bigger picture there. But now we gotta go get washed off one more time. Another trip down to the creek, so we can embed the blue shale in there, and we'll be embedding that blue shale all the way around the edges, not just the front face of those archways, but on the edges themselves, which is why I wanted those real tiny pieces. You'll see how that looks here in a second. Just get washed up. Got to get all this clay off of me, and we'll be back in there. All right, back to decorating. So again, with the putting the blue shale on these arches that we just made out of the clay, they'll reflect the candlelight a lot better and help protect the wall from the heat of the flame, whether it's from a candle or from, you know, like an oil lantern or something like that we might use in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and start chinking this one up. Or not chinking it up, but encrusting this one. See if I can give you guys a view there with the blue shale, and then of course I'll bring it up. As I'm doing this, I've got some new people in here. Thank you for stopping by. I do apologize for not being able to see the chat window while I'm working here. I'm focused on trying to get the wall done, give you guys the best perspective I can, and it's not letting me reverse the camera on my iPhone this time for some reason. That's our official technical difficulty for this live stream, so I cannot see the chat window and work at the same time. So I do apologize for that. We'll try to make, get that all figured out by the time we do our next live stream, but I'm just going to start covering that there in blue shale and see how it turns out. While I'm doing this, if you guys want to, please share this out on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit. Let everybody know that we're live streaming. Bring your friends in here and say, come and look at what this crazy sumbitch is doing. This here I have to go a little bit slower. It does have to sort of be matched up, so I'm going to trace my outside edge first. If I do have a rough side to the shale, I'll put the rough side inward. That way it helps grip and have that flat surface out. Most of it's just flat. So we're going to trace the outside of this with larger pieces, and then we'll fill in the gapping with smaller ones. See, now I don't like that point sticking out. There we go. That's a little bit better. Turn that around. Fit that in there. It's fucking artwork, boys and girls. Bushcraft artwork. This is taking arts and crafts at the Bushcraft. Yeah, I need a drink. This is taking the arts and crafts of the Bushcraft gathering and blowing it out of the fucking water right here. kind of make sure that back face is settled in there. It's sort of flat. It's going to flatten out more here in a minute anyway. We can go ahead and take a bigger piece there. Don't want the pieces overlapping. Do not want them overlapping at all. Okay, you got to be pushed around to where they're kind of freestanding. If they overlap, it's just going to make it a weak spot. So putting these bigger plates on like this first is cutting down the amount of wet surface area that I have to contend with whenever I do this next part, which is taking the very fine stuff at the bottom of this pile, because the small stuff always falls to the bottom, and start tracing this outside line with very small fragments, just pushing that all down in there. I mean, some of these are tiny, tiny. It's just dust, really. Good for nothing else except some shit like this. Just trace that line all the way down. Leveling it out, and then we gotta do the other side here right quick, and then we'll take a look at it. You have to move the big stuff out of the way on the ground there to get to this kind of fine, dusty fragment stuff that we need to do these smaller areas, just like that. And then we go one step further. We still have some surface area exposed there, so we're just going to start putting tiny fragments in wherever they'll fit. If they do not fit, just let them fall. Don't even worry about it. You can just brush them off of the ledge there when you're done. That's a little too big for that section. One or two up in there. And now we sort of have this sort of stone that I can tap around on, and I'm not getting any clay on me. So, take a closer look at that real quick. There's our candle holder with a stone back. Got that stone arch on the back, which is protecting the wall. I think that looks pretty cool, right? Not a bad idea. Let me see if I can get my lamp here. Yeah. So my lamp there, that's a pretty good sized lamp. I mean, that's about the size of a beer can. What's set right up there. So if I'm using just a taper candle or you know, any size candle set up there, it'll hold the weight. It'll hold my axe, so it'll hold the weight of that. And I can always cut the candle down to fit the arch there. So we got that protective arch back behind the ledge, and it's actually kind of thick. But we got the blue shale going up around the edge of the arch too. It's not just I'll get my light to come on, that'll help. See, there we go. So it's a stone arch all the way around on both sides. Nothing fancy. A little bit of effort to put it together, and then of course now you can see with the light on, you can see all of the crystals and everything that we're embedding into our wall all the way down. So a very unique feature. We're going to do this other candle holder on the other side of the fireplace over here real quick, just like we did that last one. So it's kind of a repeat of the lesson, but that's okay, right? Once we get these candle holders done, then we only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beams to cover in clay, and this inside wall will be done. So I just get a handful here and start working on this arch. don't want to be repetitive for the folks that have been in here for a minute, but if you could please share this out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, even though those boys over at Reddit don't fucking like my ass, because I do shit like this and they can't do it for whatever reason. Let everybody know that we're live streaming and that they can come and see some shit that they're not going to see anybody else in the outdoors community doing anytime soon. Well, Hunt's been getting all creative over here. Put that one up there. Building candle holders in my fucking bushcraft build out of clay and blue shell. And we had to put it in now as we're doing this wall, otherwise we would have never been able to do this. You can't let the wall dry out and then have a good attachment with a decorative accent like this. It just don't hold up. You need some bigger pieces than that. That's going to take too long to cover that surface area. Let me get a couple chunks here. Already slow enough as it is. There we go. Oh, gotta turn that. Again, whenever you're doing stuff like this, you don't want any of these pieces overlapping each other. They gotta be freestanding or it's gonna be weak and it could just fall out on you. And it'd be a pain in the ass trying to glue another one in. You could do it. Most likely. Just add, you know, take your clay and basically put a wet layer on the surface of your arch and then another wet layer, and you're kind of using it just like you would regular glue. It's pretty much all we're doing is just gluing this shit to the wall. Alright, so we got that part there done. I'm going to take some of my more elongated pieces and start, just like I did on the other side, start tracing out the arch itself on the outside edges. Come all the way down with that. Making that bell shape. These here are getting a little bit finer. Getting down to the bottom of the stash that we brought up with us. I don't like that when it's not. There we go. It's a little bit too wide for the back arch. This just gives some, doing this back line, it makes it look better, but it also gives some stability because you have that arch in there. It gives some stability to the piece. Right down to the edge of the stone, and just like before, now we get down to the small stuff, and we're just trying to work that into the gaps without messing up our pattern. And this stuff is so fine that you actually have to pinch. Take a pinch of 3 or 4 pieces, shove in what will shove in, let the rest of it just drop down to your holder, and then you can brush it off. This is some detailed shit. There. And I want just a little bit right in here, just because I'm seeing some excess water there. It's sort of squeezing out of the clay some. One more piece over there. Make sure they're pressed in nice and level. Don't want anything poking out and hitting your candle. And there's our other arch. Pretty cool, huh? I think that's looking good. I like it. Not bad for a few minutes of extra work and a little bit of imagination. So now we got a candle holder on both sides. Ugh. I'm gonna sit back here with you guys for a minute. Yeah, it is kind of a signature. I'm kind of really big into crystals, and I had a hell of a collection at the house. You know, as I was fall cleaning a little bit, I wanted to start getting rid of some of them, so I thought I'd bring them out here to camp and work them right into our build. So I'm going to take a break here real quick, and let me explain something here, guys. For whatever reason, my iPhone is not letting me turn the camera around, so I cannot see the chat window and you guys looking at my face. If I try to hit the window, it just gives us a mirror image. That's what's happening there. So it's not letting me come to my forward camera, so I can't actually look you guys in your little eyeballs and talk with you. So if you guys have any comments, questions, insults to throw my way, now's the time to do it, where I can actually see the oh, I can see you, Tom. I can see you just fine. As I'm sitting here, I'm just gonna hang out here for a second and kind of chill before we continue on with this wall. If you guys got anything to say that you want me to catch, good day playing in the garden. Now's the time to say it, where I can actually see the chat window. Whenever I'm in front of the camera working, I can't actually see the chat window. So that's what I'm contending with out here. Yeah, I'm still cussing, son of a bitch. Hey, Tom, check this out. This is what we're drinking tonight in celebration of getting this wall done. We got us a beautiful bottle of cognac here that we're going to be sipping on here in a little bit. I got the stones and the crystals from the river. I go island hopping down on the river. We'll take a closer look at the wall here. And I pick them up on the islands in the river. So we got sea glass, we have semi-precious stones, we do have some beading in there. But all of this stuff I just pick up along the river while I'm out hiking. So, you know, I ain't got nothing invested into the wall really. This is just sea glass and crystals and all kinds of shit that we're just encrusting into this wall. But I got nothing invested into it. And then getting our decorative shit like the candle holders put on both sides. It's just a different feel. It serves absolutely no purpose aside from the psychological aspect of it. If you want to look at it like that, it's just good for morale. So whenever I'm in here in the wintertime, yeah, whenever I'm in here in the wintertime, and you have all that downtime where your chores are done and night come around and you're just sitting here. Whenever I'm sitting here, I mean, just imagine it. Here's the picture that we're going for. We have the fireplace down here, right? Yeah, we could put some malachite and blue shale in there, kind of lighten that up a little bit. It'd be a way better light reflector. But here's the idea is that we got the fire going right here. We have our two little candles or oil lanterns going up there on the wall, and it's all of that firelight. The twinkling of the firelight and the twinkling of the candles is just making this wall glitter. So whenever you're sitting in here and you have all that downtime, you're just sitting here watching the fire. You don't just have to watch the fire. You got the two candle holders up top that you can maintain, and you got all of these glittering crystals embedded into the wall. And all of the memories that, you know, doing this entire thing on a live stream and talking to all you guys while this is happening. If I was sitting out here in the wintertime, and it's one of those late, long nights that's just dragging on and on and on, you know, looking at this wall, I'll be thinking about the conversation that we're having right now. All of the people that came in and hung out with me while I was building this damn thing. So there is a psychological thing to it. There's memory embedded into that wall. So, and it's memories with you guys, everybody that's right here right now. So that's kind of, that's something that other people really ain't working into their bushcraft builds. They're just trying to build something to impress their followers. They're not integrating memory into it. We do it live, so we integrate all of the memory of actually building the damn thing into the build. You know, every part of this has been done on a live stream, and some of it's been done with the same people every single week. They come back for more and more and more and more and more. Every week they're here. The same group of people's always here. So, you know, those people are actually going to be getting their names carved in stone here at the build. So they're going to have their names carved in stone with the date that we made the build and the date that we left the camp. And what we're going to call the legacy stone It's going to have everybody that supports my channel's name carved in that stone, along with the date that the structure was built and the date that we left the camp. And we're going to leave that here as a time capsule. We're going to leave it over by the crystal in the meadow. So my next step here, I got enough clay there to run up maybe 2 more lines. I got a little bit more in the back that we can mix up. I'd love to get this fucking panel done today. But I know it's boring for you guys, but that's just part of the process. It's a time-consuming process. Hey, Greg, I really love going up here and filming with HB and the herd. That was some epic fucking footage, yeah. Last week's episode of Huntsman was a good episode. We started off with HB. We got the crystal mounted up, and we actually finished mounting the crystal on the live stream, so that was awesome. For those of you who haven't seen the crystal, before we go ahead and get muddy and finish off this wall, we'll go ahead and walk over there one more time. This will probably be our last trip over to the crystal, but for those of you who came in and haven't seen the crystal, we'll go ahead and walk over there right quick and show you the crystal that we're talking about. That kind of ties in with what we're doing on this wall. So a lot of times I'm out hiking and I'm not doing anything. I'm not bushcrafting, I'm not camping, I just go on day hikes all the time. And a lot of those times I'm down along the river. While I'm down along the river, there's a lot of islands in the main river that runs through my county. And those islands catch all kinds of shit coming down the river. Some of the gorges around here are so deep. Yeah, we got a new buck that we have to give a name to. He's bigger than HB, and HB's actually submissive to him. Some of the gorges around here are so deep, they're cutting into ancient seabed that was here just after the last ice age, and that's where the crystals are coming from. This crystal up here is our biggest to date. This is the biggest chunk of quartz crystal that I've ever found in the area. And this is the crystal that we're talking about. And this is why we're integrating crystals to the inside of the build too. So here's the crystal that we hauled all the way up the creek. Rolled it by hand, got it all the way up here, and mounted up on this stone column. Name him BF. So some rain came in and it started polishing off our crystal a little bit. I do need to take a wire brush to it and clean all this dirt and stuff off, but not really worried about that till next year. So we got that giant quartz crystal mounted up onto the stone column, and then we're training ivy. You can see the ivy down there at the base of the column. We are training ivy to run up the column like you can see right there. It'll spiral all the way up the column and up to the moss and then up to the crystal. So next year, depending on how fast that ivy grows, the overall vision of the crystal is, since we got ivy growing in here, that ivy is going to stay green all year round. We're going to train that ivy to go up the column, but then we're also going to train it to go in a circle around the base of the column and out. So we're going to have a permanent green circle here in the meadow. It's always going to be green right where that crystal's sitting. That's why we brought the ivy in and put it at the base of the column. So even in the wintertime, there's this patch of green right around that damn crystal. That's the story with the ivy and the crystal. It's always going to be green around that crystal, no matter what. And then we also have bulbs and stuff like that we planted in here. So next spring, whenever we go up there to the crystal, there's going to be all kinds of flowers blooming around it too. Then in the wintertime, it's just permanently green with that ivy. And it's the same with the wintergreen that's growing right here around the build. This patch of green that you see right here, that's always green. Even in the dead of winter, this stuff's green. And that's why we picked this spot, was because whenever we first came in here and scouted this woods, we were all the way up there on that ridge over there, and we were looking down over the creek valley, and we saw this circle of green. And that's why we built our camp here, was because this was the only patch of green in the entire woods. And it seemed to be a damn good decision. That it's just the perfect spot. I mean, look. The ground cover around my bushcraft build is always green, and it's going to start going up the walls. We're going to have a layer of clay and topsoil at the base of at the top quarter of the wall, to where this wintergreen starts going right up it. So it's going to blend right into the forest floor. It'll look like the bushcraft build is coming right up out of the ground. It may. But yeah, that's why we picked this spot, is because even now you're seeing all of the fall colors, and that one circle right here around my build is still bright green. There was a lot of consideration and detail that went into picking this spot, but because we picked this particular spot, we have a clay bank down there, right there between these two trees, where we're digging out all of the clay for what we're doing on the inside of the build. We have all of our stone that we use for our stone walls, like right here, is right down there. And then all of the wood and everything came from cleaning out these 3 circles. These 3 circles here that you're seeing, this pattern that you're seeing here in the woods, was formed by the creek. This is ancient creek bed. This is where the creek used to flow. It's since, for whatever reason, moved all the way over there, but it used to be flowing in these other beds, and it's just stepped down in its creek bed, and then it stepped down in its creek bed. That's why you have all the stone laying there on the forest floor, and then you have a ridge. So this is actually, these higher ridges are actually the banks of the old creek where it used to run. So we have these 3 perfect circles going around, and as we're cleaning up all of the wood and the stuff that we can't use, we put them at the top of the circles to raise that up a little bit higher and get our mosses and lichens growing. So we're landscaping this entire area around my camp with otherwise unusable material to promote the growth of other plants, and then keeping our wintergreen nice and fresh and supported to blend in with the cottage itself. So back into it. It is getting dark in here now, guys. So we're gonna cast a little bit more light on the subject. I'm gonna go up as high as I can go. I got a little bit more clay back there that I can mix up, but this has turned out to be a boring ass live stream. Try to lighten that up a little bit more. Well, that's not much, is it? There we go. Oh, another feature that I have added in here to the build is I shaved off the top of the beams, the cross beams on my build, to use as shelves. So we got that going on too. Just took my axe and ran across the beam to give us a nice flat surface, so we can do shit like that and have it facing up against the wall. Yeah, I think the candle holders are looking sweet. I like them. So now I'm gonna go a little bit higher up on the wall, and then we'll get some more crystal embedded into that thing. That's looking pretty good though. I like it. I really like it. So I'm gonna go up a little bit higher here, guys, and then I'll get back with you. Just let me try to get as much of this wall done as we can. Like I said, I got a little bit more clay back there, but not a lot. But we don't have a lot of area to cover yet either, so we'll see what we can do here. Try to get this up before it dries out a lot. Running out of warm weather. It's not bad out here today, but we are starting to run out of warm weather, so this kind of shit's got to be done so we can get that chimney in here and have this thing sealed up, which is why I'm putting the workload in today, streaming for as long as we can, and we got to get back out here and keep doing it because it's getting cold, and I don't want all of this gapping and all of this shit still exposed whenever it gets cold. We have to have this done. It's drug out the entire summer, but that's just because we've been doing it on a live stream, which is awesome. Nobody else does it. But doing this kind of thing on a live stream, that's a lot of time where I'm just talking to you guys and not focusing on the build itself. So that's the exchange. It took us all year to build this structure, but only because we did it together on a live stream, and I wasn't just out here focused on the work itself and not doing anything else. I think any YouTuber will have to admit that you spend more time working on the fucking video than you do the actual camp. And that's just about the way it is all the way around. And then you get back home after spending all that time working on the fucking video and find out that you can't use 90% of the footage. It's just no good. It gets thrown away. You don't use it for anything. Unless you're like me, I do recap videos, and on a lot of those recap videos you see footage that you didn't see in the episodes. Always doing extra shit, not just limiting ourselves to one specific thing. We're always adding extra shit in on the channel. We're unlimited here. Just like the idea behind this build and keeping it unlimited. It's just, this ain't normal. We don't want to be normal. Look how they're fucking turning out. Normal is not turning out very fucking normal, if you ask me. That needs a little bit more moisture. It's clumping off too much. And I don't mind covering up any crystals if I happen to. Ain't no big deal. It's not like I don't have more of them. The important thing is the stability of the wall. The rest of it's just decoration anyway. If you notice, as I'm doing this, I always use the beams as kind of an edge to scrape the clay off, and then I smooth it out after it's shoved in there. That's pushing all of that clay back into the crease. Whenever I go in that motion, it's making sure that that crack is completely filled in and it's meeting up with the chinking on the other side. So I'm putting that much extra pressure on it to squeeze it into that crack, and then bringing my hand out. Want it filled all the way through. Smooth it out after. Fairly good. Get the next one here. Then on this, we want to make sure we get some extra clay on the beam itself, just so we can run crystals on it. That was a little drier. Oh, so close. We probably have enough back there if we mix it up to finish this damn thing off without having to go back to the creek. I'm not sure. Can't quite remember how much is back there. It's gonna be damn close. I'm not going to sacrifice the thickness of the chinking for a little bit of time. I'd rather have my wall nice and thick than and have to go back and get more clay than spread it out too thin and it just cracks all the way through. Quality. Quality over quantity. I'm just scraping out the excess that's in my quarter round here and smoothing out the rest of this, kind of making it more of a level surface. All the damn air bubbles out of there. Don't want to go skimpy on the edge of the beam. Smooth this out down here some. Alright. Alright, rather than hassle with moving you guys around, I'm just going to run out there right quick. I'm going to mix up the last little bit of clay that I got and see if I can finish up those top two beams up there. And then I'll be right back with you. It'll only take me a second. We'll finish off this wall and then we'll get the rest of our crystal encrusted into it, and then we'll take a step back and take a really good look at everything. That'll be our finished wall for the day. So while I'm doing that, if you guys want to share this out one more time, Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, any place that you guys can, let everybody know that we're doing this kind of thing, and they should come and fucking check it out because they ain't gonna see it anywhere else. Get their asses in here before it's too late. Alright guys, we got enough here to be able to finish off our wall. Sorry for it getting a little dark there. It's getting a little later in the evening, so I'm just going to finish up this wall, and then we'll try to change things around. We can see a little bit better. Definitely going to have to get some more water on this. I am really dry. A little too dry. This is the boring part, guys. I'm just filling in the gap between the wall and the outer beam with my excess clay. Meeting it all up now, just sealing it to the outer wall. I did pretty much have enough clay to do a little bit more than what I intended to do today, right here at the pit. I still have another basket down there that I'll have to retrieve before I leave tonight, because I've already dug it out of the bank, and if I leave it there, it's just going to melt right back into the bank, so I might as well go get it and bring it up here. Well, we can do that after the stream. That's just supply run. A bit more up here. Just scraping out the excess now and looking for dips in the wall that I can use to be extra to fill in a little bit. Try to smooth the wall out somewhat. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we do want it kind of a flatter panel. We'll give a little life to it, have a little flow to it, but yeah, this is looking pretty good. There's a lot of weight on this wall, let me tell you. This stuff is heavy as hell. Which is why you gotta do this kind of thing in sections like we've been doing. It's just too much weight to put an entire wall like this together in one shot. It'll just collapse in on its own weight. Alright. Damn. Now, there's our wall. Up as high as we're going to go with it today anyway. Let's step back here a little bit where we can take a wider look at it. So whenever I go down and wash my hands off so we can continue on with embedding the crystals in there, I do have to go grab a little bit more water too, so I take a water bottle down with us, just so I can smooth out that top section. And then that section there has got to dry out before we go ahead and finish off the top pyramid. We'll leave an air vent right around the main beam, but the rest of it's just getting filled in with bits of wood, clay, and stone. So that'll take us all the way up to the peak with a little air vent there at the top. So I'll grab a water bottle. We'll go down there and wash up one last time for the day, and then we'll finish off embedding our crystals into the wall. We'll take one last look at it, and that'll be our stream. Alright guys, let's try to get y'all a different perspective here. A little bit anyway. Got the water I need to smooth out that top. So we'll go ahead and wash that down right quick. Got time to focus. And we'll take a second here before we start encrusting this where I can pay attention to the chat window. I do apologize for you guys not being able to see me while you're talking to me. We'll have to get that figured out. We take on a new technical challenge every time we come out here to stream. Our technical challenge this time is filming without being able to see the chat window. Candle holders, crystals. Tom, are you still there with us? You said something about putting some more of the blue shale into that. The blue shale would hold pretty well to the lighter parts. So once we get the crystals in there, we might go ahead and do that. Just take handfuls of blue shale and kind of work it like that. Before we continue on here, guys, rather than just staring at the fucking wall, I'll come out here and let's hit you up right here for a second. Right here in the kitchen. We're going to be busting into a bottle of cognac. We got our clay on there. All we got to do now is decorate now, so we're going to be busting into this. We'll just put some cognac in the old kooksa. That's a pretty picture right there. The potion number 9 flask. This one. Just because we're drinking cognac doesn't mean we didn't bring our bourbon bottle with us. There you go, guys. There's a huntsman's mess kit for you. So we got our bottle of cognac, our kooksa, and our bourbon flask there. We're going to have us a little drink here while we're just kind of hanging out, chilling before we get back to working on that damn wall. You don't see bushcraft gear like this, do you? Oh, sorry about that, Dixie. So yeah, we got the roofied bourbon there. That's love potion number 9. And we got us a bottle of cognac. You're not going to see bushcrafters coming out with shit like that. They're just not doing it. We have a unique style here on the channel. And we have an outdoors bar going on right here. You know what, Andrew? I've been doing this since I was a little kid. And I have never in my entire life gotten a wound so devastating that I needed to waste my fucking alcohol to clean it. Look at the front yard. Front yard looking pretty. I guess looking at the front yard is better than looking at me. So I'll hang out with you guys here. Well, we're kind of showing you the scenery. And settling in here for a little bit. I need a break. Got some wood processing over here to do. These beams here go onto the shelter a little bit later. Down there on the bank of the creek, I got some bark that goes onto the shelter. Over here on this side, going towards the meadow, I also have a tree over there I can strip bark off of to put on the shelter. That tree over there is a dead standing tree. I'm actually going to be stripping the bark off of it to put across the top of the shelter, so we don't have to worry about that main beam leaking. Yeah, we got patches of green. I mean, look at the canopy. It's beautiful right now. This is a pretty good pattern going on right now. But I'm in a kind of a unique valley. There's not a lot of maple down here. You can see some reds, but everything down here is kind of turning gold. Do have this little bush right here beside us that's got some red to it. It's kind of orange this year. Didn't get a lot of sugar to it. Yeah, it's a good fall pattern. It's good sitting out here. I love the color scheme of the camp right now. It's just a different type of camp. Everybody else's camp I've seen, they're not expressive with the colors of their camp. It's always drab and bleached out and just dull and boring looking. All of those earth tones. Look at that fucking rainbow color we got going on out there with the fall leaves. Well, because the Weather Channel is run by humans, and humans usually don't know what the fuck they're doing. They like to pretend that they do. If you guys pay attention to people, especially in a group dynamic, you'll see all sorts of things that humans do, and this is like kind of like people watching. If you pay attention to people, you see them doing all kinds of shit to make them feel like they're in control when they're really not. It's just like mods in a group who are really quick to ban people that post stuff that they don't like. That's that feeling of being in control when they're really not. That person, it don't interrupt the fucking flow of their day that you kicked them out of your little fucking Facebook group. Ain't gonna make or break them, but it sure damn near, well, made you feel empowered, didn't it? Oh, I'll just ban his ass. Well, look at you go, Billy Badass, with that little ban button of yours. I fucking hate moderators. I do apologize if anybody in here is a moderator, but I fucking hate moderators, man. Fucking making your little safe space, controlled environment where what you say goes, and anything contrary to that, you just fucking eliminate. That's bullshit. Don't get scared. Had some rain come through the last couple of days. The creek flowing pretty fucking good. I couldn't get access to my clay, couldn't get access to the sand I needed. I could get down here and hang out, but we couldn't gather up no supplies to actually do any building on. So that would have been boring. That would have been even more boring than just sitting here looking at the damn scenery. But that's the shit that you see on the top of calendars, not the kind of shit that you see in other people's bushcraft videos. This is our camp. This is our first camp. We came into this camp in wintertime, and that creek ain't deep enough to hold a fucking baby mosquito. Oh, I have mods. I guess mods in my chat. You see those little blue wrenches there on my chat? Those guys really aren't mods. They've just been here so fucking long. It's nice to be able to pick them out of the crowd whenever I got a lot of people talking in the chat window. So I kind of highlight them because, number one, they've been with me long enough to fucking earn something, and that's just about as minimum as it gets. And, yeah, we got a couple. There's actually 3 creeks that run through this woods. We're right at the joining of 2 of them. So we got one creek going here right beside the Bushcraft build. It comes down this way, and that one's a little bit shallower and meets with the other creek right there at that point. So this is why we can get all of the materials that we're getting for this build, is because of where we put the camp. We're up here on the top of a ledge where all of this material just collects right here on this little sort of island area, and we just worked it to our advantage. Go down here and take a little bit different look at it. And here's the danger of where I built my shelter, and you guys can see it from down here. You see how close my shelter is to the edge of the cliff? That serves a purpose. It's about a foot away from the edge of the bank. So all of the runoff, you'll notice if I come down to this angle, you'll notice that the ground angles down away from the build. The earth itself is going to pull any water away from our build. So it's the perfect setting. Yeah, it does blend in almost perfect. And as we landscape around it, like I said, we'll be adding soil and clay to this bank. And then we're going to continue on landscaping the bank to stop the erosion. And we'll blend the top part of our shelter right into the edge of the bank itself. So it's going to fit in a little bit better. But yeah, we have a wealth of material that we can use all down through here. And we also have a waterfall back that way. If you guys want to go look at the waterfall right quick, we can take a quick walk back there and check it out. It ain't much of a waterfall, but there is a waterfall back there. So this is just where two creeks join. And then, of course, since we have so much flowing water in this area, I'm moving stones that I wouldn't use in the build up along the bank, especially stones that have moss on them. So we get this whole bank green rather than this dull brown color. And we have all of that moss and the ferns and everything supported there, so. Yeah, I wish HB was living here with us, but he's about 3 miles away from here. I still think we got us a damn good camp. You can actually see my light on the inside. That little pin of light right there in the middle of the doorway, that's my lamp. It's dark as shit inside that build right now. We better be getting back in there and getting to it. But I'm like landscaping this. I want to support the ferns and the mosses. That's why I'm adding the stones in along the bank, because it'll help hold those along the bank and help support them so they don't just wash off whenever it rains. So we'll have all of these beautiful ferns and mosses going all the way down through there next spring. Same with this kind of shit here. It's just landscaping. We're landscaping around the build. Who the fuck does that? We're gonna take a quick walk right here. We'll go back and see what the waterfall looks like today. I ain't been back there in a minute. I don't even know if we can see it without going up on the hill. You know, I actually got the emerald pool down there in front of the shelter, so deep enough to hold about sardine-sized minnows, the kind of sardines you would normally eat out of a can. I got minnows in there about that size. Use them for bait, number one. Go down to the main river and actually do some proper fishing. But in a worst case scenario, those minnows would turn into a goddamn sardine meal. Little Louisiana hot sauce on them sons of bitches and then eating them head and all. Huntsman gets hungry. Especially coming out here doing shit like we do. See all these ferns? This is the kind of shit I want to promote. I want this this whole hillside more covered in ferns. So as I'm gathering up wood, sometimes I just prop wood up underneath the ferns to help hold them. This is about halfway up got a little bit way to go there. This is about halfway up where you can see the waterfall behind my build. So there's the waterfall. It don't have a pool at the bottom of it though. It has that little pool right there, but it's not deep enough to hold anything. Pretty pictures though. A little bit different hue, and this is the one that's flowing to the left of my build. And this is the valley where the camp is at, looking from the top of the cliff. Check this out. Got a bit of dead standing here. We got 3 perfect steps going right up to a hole. There's a picture. Oh, we got 4 of them. There's another one down there. We always stopping to look at shit like this too. Probably something living up in there. I do have one bit of dead standing over here in the meadow that's got a mouse living in it. I spread peanut butter up there right underneath this hole so he can get out there and get peanut butter. Feeding the field mouse that lives up in the meadow. There's our build from about a quarter way up the hill. Looks tiny out there. This is the back wall looking at the fireplace. Not a bad spot, right guys? We gotta get back up in there and start embedding that crystal before our water starts drying out too much. Then we'll smooth it out, and that'll be the end of the build for the day. Next time we come out, we'll be putting on the chimney. So back here at the fireplace, the only thing that we got left to do to it is we'll be putting an angled flat stone in on this back side to bring it up closer, so it'll have a flat stone going about halfway up, and then our chimney is built at the front of that flat stone going on up the wall, and it mounts right to these stones that we got embedded into the wall there. And from out here you can see that crushed blue shale that we got worked into the cracks of the floor, and how it starts lighting up in the evening twilight. You can really see it stand out from out here. Work in progress, but the work is almost done. Oh, here come our fucking chipmunks. We got chipmunks that run across these beams every single time I'm live streaming. They come out. I don't see them when I'm just up here working. Alright, so we're gonna go back to embedding some crystal and taking Tom Ritter's suggestion there, and maybe even putting in some blue shale along with it. So getting a little bit dark out here, guys. I do apologize. We're running out of light, which means we're running out of stream time. We'll light it up as best we can and run for as long as we can here. Let's see if we can just wedge that up there. There we go. That's not too bad, I guess. But basically repeating the same process that I was doing before, where I'm just taking that bag of crystal and encrusting the wall. So I'm gonna get to today. We'll try to run up the last little bit here. Then I'll be able to sit down and talk with you guys one more time before we cut the stream off for the evening. Everybody can get back to their families and enjoy their Sunday evening before going back to the work week tomorrow. So let me get to this, and then we'll take one good long look at the wall and see what our progress was for the day, and we'll be wrapping it up. There. Too thin. Getting down to it now, guys. Running out. Now I can start looking at the details just a little bit more, because I only got about a handful left and a lot of it's smaller fragments. I think we've left the realms of bushcraft behind on this build. This is some next level shit. People need to get on board. Down to some tiny beads now, just working them in here. This is kind of like a fuck you to a firewall. I should have said fire reflector. This is a fuck you to a fire reflector. And now I'm down down to my tiny little dustings of pyrite, which is fool's gold. Nice twinkle, but worthless. I think I have maybe 2 more pieces in the bag. These are tiny, so we'll put them around our candle holders. Catch a little bit more light around them. And then we still got a little bit of our blue shell here. We can go ahead and add in some blue shell too. Just real quick and sloppy. We'll just put clumps of blue shell in there. They'll sort of match the way we did the chinking on the outside of the wall. If we just put a little, some clumps of blue shell in here, just kind of slap it in. It'll sort of match it all up with the rest of the shoulder. Tom Ritter's idea, add some blue shell in there. So we adding some blue shell in here. Tends to work out really good because if I have it in the just flat on my hand and slap it on there, it just sticks right to it. So I can fill in a lot of these bigger gaps and then just pat it right in. A little bit more reflection too. That's why we utilize the blue shell to begin with, is because it reflects light so well. I'm just going to use up what we got here. Don't overthink it. The guy that's been embedding crystals into the fucking wall of his shoulder saying don't overthink it. Probably should have said that. Now once this all dries out, it's going to look a hell of a lot different because all of this clay is going to lighten up. But we can take a look at it here and see what we got. We'll take a close look at it here, guys. So here's our wall back at a distance with our 2 candle holders there at each side and my helicopter coming to rescue me after we got all this fucking work done. That's our upper wall just above our fireplace. Not too bad. And you see, I'm holding the light just above the camera right now, so you can see how that is all sort of reflecting light, and you have all of that different color in there. Who the fuck does that? And we just take this here, gotta brush that off a little bit. Those will set up nice and neat. There's our candle holders with a good back to them. Here's our other one. Get all that excess cleared off of there. Don't know how well this is gonna work. Sorry for moving the camera around, guys. That's live streaming for you. There's our wall. Got done what we wanted to get done. Like I said, it's gonna look a hell of a lot different when it dries out because that top wall is gonna be the same light shade as this bottom section. You see that line? It's gonna all lighten up just like that line. She looks pretty right now, though. Actually, having it darker really makes some of those colors pop. I like it. So that's our workload for the day, guys. Now it's just hanging out for a little bit, enjoying some of our cognac. Dixie don't like beans. Are you one of those that don't like beans and chili? It's like being inside a cave in here now. All this stonework and crystal embedded into the wall. I do love the greens. If it ain't got fucking beans in it, it ain't goddamn chili. That's saying somebody say no beans and no beef and chili. Well, what the fuck do you put in it? Are you just drinking fucking tomato juice? You dumb sons of bitches. No beans and no beef and chili. What the fuck is that? Well, what do y'all think of that wall? Get the clay up here and start chinking in that beam right there. The little detail work, we'll do that on the next stream probably. Try to have enough clay up here to go ahead and close in our fireplace and do the chinking on both sides, the downward chinking. So that'll be our next 3 pieces, just basically finishing off the pyramid there. And by then that top wall will be dry. We'll be able to take another good look at it. There's a pattern there. It's kind of like a pyramid, but it's got those 2 little points to it too. You see, you can really see it over here, how the light's just shining in where you see that overhang point. So you got this beam coming up, and it's wedged up against another beam, and that's just causing it's reinforcing the top wall, which is why there's that overhang right there. You see that it's almost like a Z shape. That is a key to building this type of wall, because you got those support beams going right up into that upper wall, which is helping support it. So that's a secret that's revealed right there by the sunset. One of the design secrets to the build is that little almost like dragon shape right there is one of the keys to holding up the weight of that crystal wall. Let's back this up just a little bit further, guys. It's gonna be dark. I don't think we'll be able to make much out of it. But yeah, we're making progress on it. So it really darkened up in there. We got our air vent there at the top that we'll be bringing up and we're gonna kind of control that build a little bit, because I don't want to completely close it off. But we do have to have ventilation at the top, just for whatever smoke does get past the fireplace and chimney. We want to make sure that it can get out of the build. And we don't want any gases building up on top, you know, or anything like that, just cause the health risk. So that's going to be a little bit more controlled running that up. And it's just clay and some reinforcing material to take that up, because it's only about 3 or 4 inches that we have to go up on the top there. Close in the fireplace on the next build, and we'll be leveling out this inside jagged edge. That'll be a square box, and it'll actually stand out from the wall about 2 or 3 inches. So we'll build a box around that. That'll level all of that out and give us a nice square box around the fireplace. Plus it will give us the 2 side pieces that we can use to put our mantle on. A little bit more work to do to it. But I think we're going to be wrapping this stream up. The live stream, the Bushcraft build live stream series up within the next 1 or 2 live streams. So we're only going to stream 1 or 2 more times on this build, and that's going to be it. The rest of us I gotta just get out here and focus on the build itself before winter. So I won't be able to stream to do a lot of the inside shit, like this wall over here has got to be chinked up on the inside yet, and You can see all of the gapping there. That's got to be covered in grass and bark before winter. We got plenty of bark to cover this up. We're going to be filling all of that in on the outside with grass and bark, and then I'll be chinking it up on the inside. So the inside walls are going to look just like that wall over there whenever we get done. But it'll take us until next year to do all that. It's still a lot of work to do, and not enough year left to do it. Set our light up there. If we was using a candle, it would probably reflect the light up. So if we turn the light upside down, we kind of get an idea anyway of how that wall would light up if it had a candle sitting on it. So there's a very rough example of how that wall might light up with a candle sitting on it. And you could see the colors lighting up around there. Now, if it was a candle flame, of course, it'd be a lot smaller pool of light, and you'd get that flicker to it. But I think that is going to work out really, really well in the wintertime. And, you know, however long we decide to stay here at this camp, I'll try to bring candles with me the next time I come down for our next live stream, which will probably be next Sunday. I'll try to bring actual candles down. The wall will be dry by then, and we can set some candles up there, and we'll try to stream after dark so we can have this thing lit up proper. We'll have the fireplace in on the next build. We'll have that gap there closed in on the next build, so we can have our candles up there. We may get a little fire going in the fireplace to kind of help dry it out and fire that clay a little bit. We do have plenty of room in there to actually, you know, build a fire, and even without the chimney on it, I think we'd be all right. But yeah, we'll try to light this up and stay out after dark on the next live stream, which will probably, like I said, next Sunday. So we would be streaming start to stream a little bit later next Sunday, maybe around 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. That way we have enough battery power to be able to stream well after dark, and be able to hang out too. And I'll try to get the mirror image problem fixed on the phone. I'm gonna start packing up gear here. Still have a little bit of stuff to do here around camp, but I won't be doing I won't be filming that on the live stream. I won't be filming it at all. It'll be just gathering up some of the materials for the next live stream, which should be a good time. We'll have it all set up a little bit better, and a little bit less work and a little bit more hangout. Yep. I can't wait to see what this wall looks like when it's dry. It's gonna be something. We gotta stop getting the start getting the creative side out of this build though, and start getting serious for winter. I just know I'm running out of time. Plus, I'm gonna be going on a whitetail hunt, which is gonna take me away from camp. Going to be trying to film some of the whitetail hunt and getting a video out on it. Hopefully we have a good hunt. Just taking a good look at the wall there. Not too shabby. Ugh. And go back out here where we got a little bit of light. Sit down for a minute. And thank you everybody that came with me. A little bit more of a boring live stream here this time because I had to focus on getting some of this damn work done. But I did hope you guys enjoyed the idea. That's still mirror imaging on me. I do hope you guys enjoy the ideas that I put forth during this live show. I'll try to change this around a little bit. Maybe give you some new ideas, inspire you a little bit, get out there and do something a little bit different than what everybody else is doing. Not be a carbon copy cookie cutter bushcrafter with the same kind of gear and the same kind of mentality and the same kind of limitations. We're trying to break all of that and upset the established order that has been in charge of the bushcraft community for far too fucking long. They ain't putting out no new content. They're just repeating what they've already done. We're starting off with the fucking bang. And when we get this build done, we'll be moving on to our next build, and we'll just keep doing that. We'll move to a completely different area, a completely different landscape, doing a completely different style of build. And we'll probably do that every 2 or 3 years or so. So the channel is always going to be new, it's always going to be fresh, and we are always going to have our extra features to the channel too, like the outdoors biography series and the series extras and the trail cam clips and going up and seeing HB. We're going to start hunting here in the series, which will be a whole new thing. If you got a YouTube channel called Huntsman, you better be out fucking hunting, son. And there are a lot of other bushcrafters out there too that don't actually hunt. Call themselves outdoorsmen, but they've never actually killed anything. There's our front of our shelter and our back gap that we still need to get filled in, but the rest of it's looking pretty good. I was going to scrape off some of this front wall today so I could bring a stain out the next time I come out and get the lines stained on the walls, but now I'm just sort of sitting here sipping on cognac and the love potion bottle. Take a picture of that. Snap. And then take a picture of that. Snap. The Huntsman out here with more alcohol than a state liquor store. It looks pretty though. I'll tell you what. That shit looks pretty sitting there on that rock. You cannot deny that. Hey, Rich, you know what? The reason it only takes little Joey 2 hours to build his bushcraft shelter is because he has the power of the breakfast bagel. All he has to do, all Joe Robinette has to do is go out there, spark a fire, and cook a breakfast bagel, and his followers worship him to the nth fucking degree. That's instant success right there. If you can cook a fucking breakfast bagel, that's all you need to do. Joe has the power of the breakfast bagel. So he can go out there and fix him a bagel and his followers suck his balls and kiss his ass all fucking day long for it. I don't want those kind of followers. Yeah, the motherfucker does like eating his breakfast in the woods. That's all he does. You know, yeah, everybody knows how I feel about little Joey. I don't think that, you know, I got to thinking about this the other day. I don't think my problem so much is it's Joe himself. It's the people that fucking fall for his bullshit. I just had one of his little followers come over here talking about, oh, Joe has over 1 million subscribers. And I'm like, yeah, Joe has 1 million subscribers on record, but he only gets like 100,000 views. So how many subscribers are not watching his shit? I don't give a fuck how many subscribers you have, kid. Subscriber count don't matter. If you got 1 million subscribers and 99% of them ain't fucking watching, are they really subscribers? I don't give a fuck about that. It ain't like you got a fucking outdoors resume with your fucking YouTube subscribers. One of my subscribers is worth 1,000 of Joe Robinette subscribers. And that's what I was getting to. I don't think my problem is Joe Robinette, so to speak. It's the sheer amount of people that fall for his goddamn pansy ass shit. Hook, line, and sinker. Like they drink that motherfucker's Kool-Aid and can't get out of it. Just worship that fucking candy ass. I guess the shock value is I didn't know there was that many fucking stupid ass fucking girls in the world. Little fucking pansy boys. I can't stand people that fucking worship Joe Robinette. If that's your fucking level of greatness, you need to get the fuck off my channel. Because this channel is not for you. If you think Joe Robinette is fucking impressive, you need to take your fucking ass somewhere else. Because, no. Ain't impressed by fucking Dora the Explorer one goddamn bit. Dora the Explorer ain't doing anything near what we're fucking doing. He's just going out there fixing a breakfast bagel hoping you'll suck his dick for it. And you do. Damn it, Rich, you got me on a fucking tirade now. I've been drinking the fucking cognac. Rich did that on purpose. He just likes provoking me. He waits till I get a little buzz on and then he talks, gets me talking about shit that I don't need to be talking about. I'm going to have a New Year's resolution. My New Year's resolution for 2020 is not to say shit about that little fucking pansy pussy ass Joe Robinette and his Bushcraft bagel or any of his cult-like following. Everybody thinks he's so alone, and Alone is a fake TV show. He couldn't make it on a fake survival show. Seriously? You don't fucking believe anything you see on the internet. And then they want to come to me and say, oh, Huntsman, you got as many subscribers as Joe does. And I'm like, yeah, but just one of my subscribers could kick the fuck out of 100 of little Joey's subscribers. They wouldn't know what to fucking do with their ass after they came over here and got a beat down. We don't fucking play around. The kind of people that follow me, the kind of people that like my content, backwoods boys, they don't fuck around. They will fuck you up. And they will shove your little safe space right up your candy ass. Now I'm going to have to break out my kooks. God damn it, Rich. We have one more drink. One more drink. And then we're going to be shutting down the live stream. I'm going to get home, fix me something bloody. Because when Huntsman fixes meat, you just knock the horn off of it, wipe its ass, and you chuck it on the plate. A medium rare is about as good as you get it. Okay, we drinking the cognac here. Look at that bottle, though. Isn't that pretty? Like, this is the kind of picture that people should be putting on their fucking Instagram. Not that goddamn, oh, here's my gear spread. You do this. You do this like Huntsman does. Fuck fixing coffee in your kooksa. We drinking cognac. Because it looks cool. And it tastes great. Like I said, cognac tastes like bourbon and wildflowers. It's a beautiful, beautiful bouquet on cognac. And it kind of matches the scenery I'm sitting in. Damn it, Rich. He's not a man. That motherfucker ain't went through puberty yet. He's still watching the cartoons in the morning before he goes out and fixes his breakfast bagel and impresses the shit out of 100,000 fucking people. Because that's the level that they're at. That's the level that they want to stay at, too. Like, they come at me saying that you're a dick, Huntsman, and I'm like, I'm not the kind of guy you want to hang out with. Unless, you want to maybe, possibly, got a 90% chance of getting into a bar fight. Because that's what's going to happen. Hey, it's not just that, Dixie. It's just like you're out there driving all the fucking time, just like Rich is. Y'all are drivers, right? You're both truck drivers. We're working men. Oh, Tyler, I was asking about your, because I was looking at your build, and I was thinking about my build, and I was looking at, because we got this going on in here. We're probably going to have to grab the fucking light. It's going to be dark in here. But I was looking at the design of your shoulder, and this is how I'm integrating my fireplace. So when I was looking at your current build, I got this big-ass gap in my wall to work in the fireplace, and I was wondering how you was going to get your internal heat source. I didn't know if you was going to build like an external fireplace or if you had something else in mind that I could, steal the idea off of and maybe work into another kind of build. So that's what I was asking about was... you had talked about in one of your earlier live streams about building an internal heat source to your build rather than an external fire with a fire reflector. So I was just asking about that. And for some reason, I don't know, maybe I didn't even post it, but for some reason, I went back there and to see if you had responded to that, and there was no response. And then I looked and there was no comment, and I'm like, well, shit. So either I didn't follow through with actually posting the question of how you were going to do an internal fire source or heat source for your build, or some other glitchy thing happened. It's YouTube. Shit happens. Yeah, you got a unique source of material. I'm excited about your build. I'll try to catch your live streams if, you know, I'm awake. But like, it's just like this live stream right here. My technical difficulty is if I try to switch the camera around where you guys can actually see me, it just gives us a mirror image. So we're playing mirror mirror here. Boom, boom, boom. Now I'm gonna fuck with you guys. This is for Rich fucking with me. Alright, we're gonna quit doing that. But yeah, so it just gives me a mirror image rather than flipping to my front camera. So I got a technical difficulty there that I gotta get worked out before our next live stream. Well, you know, shit happens. It's YouTube. You're always gonna have some sort of technical difficulty. Just like we're having here today. Everybody's looking at the scenery and not seeing me. That's probably a blessing, though. I like the idea that you got going on there, Tyler. And I like the idea of using the driftwood rather than the traditional style build. When you get it done, it's going to look unique as fuck. So everybody that's in here, make sure you go out and go over there and check out Tyler. He's doing his own bushcraft build. And he's got the same kind of unique approach. He's trying to be different than everybody else. He's trying to be way more realistic about it. So make sure you check out Tyler Wood Bushcraft. He does some live streams too where he's talking about the build. And then he's chronicling his build almost step by step. But a little bit faster than what I'm doing. So, yep, real life. We're trying to break the fucking mold on the outdoors community, dude. We're trying to be different. So, you know, it's just like with our build here. Every part of this fucker was done on a live stream. Nobody fucking live streams this kind of shit. And we've had some really great episodes. This is like episode 22 in this build. We've had some really great, exciting episodes, and we've had a lot of fucking boring ones. There's a lot of time into this build. We've put all summer into this fucking build, and it ain't even done yet. Ugh. You know, I kind of plateaued on subscribers. I am stuck at like, it goes up and down about 10 or 20 every week. I lose 10 or 20 and I gain 10 or 20. But I plateaued, like, so I'm sort of stuck here. I was ahead of Pooja Studios for the longest damn time, and I don't know how. But then I just plateaued and I'm stuck right here where I'm at. It's like, these are the people that'll follow me and nobody else. And even with the number of followers that I got, look at my view counts. Those subscriber counts don't mean shit. Because you can have all the subscribers in the world and still not get the views. But this video's already got 20 thumbs up, which is pretty fucking impressive for a Huntsman live stream with as much of a dick as I am. Nobody gives me 20 thumbs ups. 21! Holy shit. It's a thing now. Don't be 22, motherfuckers. Don't be doing that too much. People start thinking you like me. Little Joey will come over here and say, holy shit, fucking Steve got 22 thumbs up on his latest stream. I better take that motherfucker out now. You ever see... Yeah, one of my favorite pastimes is going and I don't actually watch Joe's videos. Because it's always the same shit, and he's already gone back to a camp. He's gone back to one of his old camps, and he started fixing his breakfast bagels because he's run out of content. And winter's coming, so he doesn't want to go on long trips. But I do, the entertaining part is actually reading the comments on Joe's videos. His one video where he just goes out to his old camp and he fixes a bagel. Just like he did, like whenever he first started. And all of his subscribers are just worshiping. Like, he literally did nothing. And then you got some subscribers on there saying, oh my God, Joe hearted my comment. You needy motherfuckers. I feel bad for you people. I seriously feel bad for you people if a heart from Joe Robinette is what makes your fucking day. Oh my God, you sorry sons of bitches. You need help. You need a fucking hero. That's the best effort you can put together. That's what impresses you. Man, up your goddamn standards a little bit. Yeah, he heard all the comments. That's his that's his thing. That's a YouTuber thing though. You get a big YouTuber with a ravenous following, like little Joey. All he has to do is hit that thumbs up and the heart, and that makes his subscribers' day. That's like feeding them the Kool-Aid. If he does that and nothing else, he'll keep his following just fine. Because that's all they want out of life is Joe Robinette to give them a thumbs up. That's their only expectation. That's as high as their standards go. Is it kind of like my ex-wife woman to do anything you fucking wanted her to? Obviously, just looking at our build, our standards are a little bit higher. We're doing a little bit more. We're networking with a few different people. I'd rather network with hunters and girls that could go out there. I'll network with a girl that will go out there on a deer hunt and then body slam your ass for fucking insulting her before I'll network with Joe Robinette. The girls that I work with, the girls that I talk to all the time, they are no fucking joke. But the shit that they have to put up with, you mentioned it right there, Tyler. I've known Hannah and Jeff for 3 years now, before I even started the Huntsman channel. I knew Jeff before I knew Hannah, because I was real big into bow hunting, and that's all I was following before I started into the whole wilderness survival bushcraft bit, was just bow hunting. So I had bumped into Jeff and got to talking about him. We got to talking about an old bow that's like obsolete now ever since the fucking ritual bow came out. If you get a ritual bow, that's the one they're plugging now. But every year they come out with 2 or 3 different bows. Every time a new bow comes out, it's just like an iPhone. Every year they come out with a new one that you have to go get. But yeah, I met Jeff, and Jeff was the kind of guy that I just wanted to fucking hang out with. So I started following Jeff and talking to him about bow hunting and shooting my compound bow. He's the one that, Jeff Barron is the one that taught me how to adjust my bow. And he did that on private messenger on Instagram. He just jumped right in there and said, okay, what kind of bow do you got? What's your, he asked me the specs. And then he just gave me advice on how to get that thing adjusted, where you saw in my last couple of videos where I could get that zeroed in and hit my fucking target. Jeff Barron is the one that taught me how to do that. And he can outshoot me any day of the fucking week. So I'm getting all these free lessons from Jeff. He was just nice enough to say, hey man, this is what I think you should try. So I'd go out there and try it. And then I'd go and report back to him and say, yeah, it worked, or no, it didn't work. And he'd pitch me another idea. And sometimes it might take him a week to get back to me because, he's a busy fucking man. Jeff owns his own construction company on top of doing all the outdoor shit. So he's busy all the fucking time. The fact that he even responded to a message, that was enough. But yeah, through Jeff, hanging out with him and talking about hunting, that was before Hannah came onto the scene. Hannah came onto the scene, and then, of course I knew Jeff, and then I started following Hannah, and then Hannah got just shot up almost fucking instantly. And it's not because she's skilled in the woods. Hannah fucking shot up instantly on Instagram because she's fucking Hannah Barron. Like, she's the shit. And everybody knows she's the shit. So I started talking to Hannah about, I don't know, maybe 5-6 months before I started off the channel. So when I first started off the Huntsman series, my thing was I wanted to network with outdoorsmen to kick off the series. So I got a hold of Joe Robinette, I got a hold of Hidden Woodsman, I got a hold of TA Outdoors, I got a hold of MCQ Bushcraft, I got a hold of all these people that are involved in the bushcraft survival community and camping and shit like that. And I kind of fell away from Jeff and Hannah a little bit in the hunting aspect. And I got everybody together for a tribute. Like, I wanted to pay my respect to all the people that came before me. Most of them were in for it, and the rest of them, I found the ugly side of YouTubers really fucking quick. They're the ones that, right off of the bat, told me, this is not the kind of world that you think it is. We are not the kind of guys that you think we are. We're not just going to network with you to network with you. So I tried starting out with the big bushcrafters. MCQ Bushcraft still supports me to this day. He watches the videos. He leaves comments every once in a while. He's all over my fucking Instagram account. MCQ Bushcraft is the biggest bushcrafter to ever just fully back me from the get. But then the other guys were like, you know, we're really not going to, we don't want to be involved. Like, you're too small, or, you know, we don't get anything out of it, that kind of shit. But what really pissed me off was, you'll interfere with my revenue stream. Whenever I heard another outdoorsman, somebody who you would consider to be like a kindred spirit, say you'll interfere with my revenue stream, that pissed me off from the beginning, and it's had me pissed off ever since. Like, the only reason you're in the outdoors and you're making YouTube videos is for fucking money. The only reason that you're teaching bushcraft and survival is because it makes you free fucking money and you don't have to have a man's job. That pissed me off, and that's what set the tone for my channel, and it's had the tone for my channel ever since. I could not believe some little son of a bitch would say that, and Joe Robinette is the one who fucking said it. The comment is still up on my fucking videos. He came to my channel, he left a comment on my video and said that he does network with overpriced companies, and he's going to keep doing it no matter what anybody says about it, because that's his livelihood. He left a comment. You can see it in his own fucking words right here on my channel. I didn't delete it. He didn't delete it. I called his ass out. He came and he couldn't help himself but leave a fucking comment, and in Joe Robinette's own fucking words admitted that he is only in the outdoors for the fucking money. Right here on my channel. Money will fucking corrupt the best of them. That's the driving focus behind everybody on fucking YouTube, man. And that's why I don't do it. And why I refuse to do it. They're here to make money. They're here thinking that if they can get their YouTube channel to go over, it'll pay their way through life. It's like the fucking Social Security program for millennials. All you have to do is be an Instagrammer or a YouTuber, and you can get your way paid through life, and you don't actually have to fucking work. That's bullshit. That's why I won't do it. So that's why the revenue that we pick up is getting donated to Real Tree Planet or conservation efforts or something like that. We're putting that money back into the outdoors just because we know that the big bushcrafters are never going to do that. They can't afford to do that and pay their bills at the same fucking time. You're going to see that report coming out next week. We get our first report for the Real Tree Planet, the money that we're raising on super chats for planting trees all over the world, and with our Indestructible Shoes campaign. All the money that we make from Indestructible Shoes is getting donated to Real Tree Planet, and we're planting trees. You can't be in it for the money. You're not going to get any money out of it anyway, Tyler. The number of views and the number of subscribers that I get about $100 a month. And I have to pay taxes on that at the end of the year. That's something they don't tell you whenever you're aiming for monetization, that at the end of the year, your entire tax return will fucking go to paying off the money that you owe for your YouTube channel. So you think you're gonna fucking make money until you get to tax time and you have to pay taxes on every fucking dime that they threw your way. And it's just nickels and dimes anyways, brother, I'm telling you. I have almost 10K subscribers. Views are shooting up left and right just because we brought back the biography series. And I won't make $100 a month. It is pennies. They give you a percentage of a percentage of a percentage of a fucking penny, and you know, it's whatever. Now, if you get to Joe's level, and you're making, you know, $1,000 on YouTube a month, and then you sell merchandise on top of it, and you take sponsors on top of it, you know, I mean, you really got to whore yourself out to the nth degree to make a career out of YouTube. Don't do it. Just go out there and, I mean, if you want to be a YouTuber, just, for God's sakes, man, keep your fucking day job. Because that's a steady source of income. YouTube is not steady. It's going to be different every fucking month. You can't count on it. And any moment, they could demonetize you for any fucking reason. Even if they don't have a reason, they could demonetize you and you don't get paid. And then you're just shit out of luck. If for whatever reason, and this is why Joe has to be so careful, if for whatever reason YouTube comes around one day and just demonetizes his channel, what the fuck is that kid gonna do? Because he hasn't worked an actual job in 5 years. What the fuck is he gonna tell a prospective employer? Oh, I was a YouTuber for the past 5 years? Well, that's great, Joe. I'm glad you were self-employed, but you have no current skills for us to be able to hire you. You're outdated, son. Joe screwed himself. Because YouTube, even if you do go over on YouTube, it ain't going to last forever. It'll last for a couple of years, and then people are going to get burnt out on your shit. I've seen YouTuber after YouTuber after YouTuber, and a lot of them, not even in the outdoors community, sink. Because they made their career, and that was it. They didn't have no backup plan. So now they're going through depression and shit like that. Stephanie Margith, look at her. Oh my God, that girl. I mentioned in a live stream a few weeks ago that Stephanie Margith had gone batshit crazy. She actually went on Facebook and told her following to go shut down another YouTuber. That's how far gone she is. Because this other YouTuber just doesn't happen to like her. That's all it was. He didn't like her. So he said, you know, I don't like you. I don't like your kind of content. You're fucking crazy. And she told her following to go to help her get his channel shut down. Just because he gave her bad publicity? Are you fucking serious? Like, everybody in the fucking world hates Huntsman. I ain't telling you to go get Joe's channel shut down. Joe hates my fucking guts. He ain't saying go shut Huntsman's channel down. He ain't telling his following, hey, go attack Huntsman and get him to shut up. It wouldn't do him any good anyway. But Steph Margith actually went to her following and said, go shut this piece of shit down. And he had been gone for 2 years. He hadn't said anything to anybody in 2 fucking years. And the moment he comes back, she's just pounced on him and said, shut him down. That's some bullshit. But that's what happens whenever your YouTube channel starts failing and you fall into that pit of depression that no matter what you put out, it doesn't go over, or you're not getting the same kind of money out of the exchange. That's what happens to these YouTubers. And it's not just outdoorsmen. It's fucking everybody. They go through so much stress and so much fucking depression. It's retarded. And that's just because they came at it with the wrong fucking approach. I don't get it, man. I try to learn from other people's mistakes. I really do. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm not going to sell out. You guys are never going to see me plugging a fucking video game like little Joey did on his last video. The only reason Joe is... Damn. The only reason Joe is plugging that video game is because the dumb son of a bitch doesn't have a job and he needs to pay his bills. Not going to see me doing it, ever. No matter how many subscribers I get, you will never see me start off one of my videos stopping what I'm doing in the woods to plug a fucking video game. That dumb son of a bitch. If that ain't the proof you need. Can you see the shoulder? We're just walking around now. I got tired of sitting on my ass. That cognac went, that last cognac went down really wrong, and it fucking got caught in my throat. It's like burning my throat. Well, this is the area of the meadow that we cleared out whenever we was putting the first bit of insulation on the roof of the build. Still got some more of this to cut out, actually. I'll probably do that the next time I come out. I'll be harvesting some more of this and putting it up on the build. Sneaking up on it. Crystal there, still sitting pretty. And we'll go over this way. We're going to take a look at our blackberry bushes that we got growing over here. I actually have some more I'm going to be transplanting out here. Bushcraft forums. I'm all over Reddit. People on if you go to Reddit, there's a main bushcraft forum on Reddit, and those motherfuckers hate me. Whoever is running the bushcraft forum on Reddit hates my fucking guts because I come out here and did this build, and it's blowing their little asses out of the water. They do not like me posting anything about my build on their forum. Reddit is, I get a lot of views from Reddit, but yeah, it's a love-hate relationship. Reddit is very competitive. Like if you go over there and you one up the moderators or you one up the owner of the forum, they'll fucking cut you off quicker than shit. I already got kicked off of the survival forum over there. They said that sharing videos was not what they wanted on their forum. They want everything written out. Everything over there is still handwritten, basically. They don't want you sharing videos, they want you to write it out. Maybe share a photo every once in a while, but if you share too many photos, that's what got me kicked off. Too many photos. I'm like, you just a bunch of jealous sons of bitches because my build's better than anything you've ever fucking put together yourselves. They didn't argue. You'll get that sometimes. You'll get that in forums. You'll get that in groups. If you one up the owner or you one up the moderators or you build something bigger, better, and better, they will kick your ass out because they don't want you showing them up. That's that unspoken competition that's going on in the outdoors community. Everybody trying to one up everybody else. Nobody just going out and actually having fun. It's a fucking competition. The better you are, the more subscribers you get. Everybody's about the thumbs up, the hearts, and the number of subscribers. Everybody's about the numbers, no matter what. There never was a code. Men these days, anybody born within the past, awesome, Mike's. But you got to stop by. We're about to wrap it up. Anybody that comes out into the outdoors today, they're not out here like we were out here when we were kids. They're out here to make money. They're out here for some sort of fucking legitimacy in life. They think that if they get enough YouTube subscribers or fucking Reddit karma or thumbs up on Facebook, that it somehow legitimizes their existence for them, that it makes them feel special, that it gives them a place in the world. And it don't. It's all fucking fake. It's a fake sense of self-respect. It's artificial pride. They need your approval. Everybody wanting to fit in with the crowd. Everybody wanting somebody else's approval. You can't do what I do. You can't come out here and do what I do and say what I say if you're looking for somebody else's approval. I do not know who Chris Thorne is. Look into him though. You cannot, like, you can't be a YouTuber like I am and say the kind of shit that I say if you're looking for a thumbs up or you're looking for the majority of society to accept you, because they're not going to do it. They're all about safe spaces and they don't know what gender they are. How the fuck are they going to handle a guy like me? I'll check that out, Tyler. Thanks for the recommendation. And that's another big thing that I do on my channel. If you guys can tolerate my kind of content and you think that I would like somebody with the kind of content that I put out, give me a suggestion. Tell me where I can go to watch a fucking man instead of watching Dora the Explorer. Our emerald pool. Can't really make out the fucking minnows. They're down there though. The only one that I really watch that I have absolutely respect for as far as a bigger YouTuber is Cold Cracker. And that's just because I know Dan. And Dan, he doesn't do a lot of the cussing and shit that I do in my videos. But Dan is a bad motherfucker. Dan over there at Cold Cracker Bushcraft will that boy's been in some bar fights and he, he's a fucking scrapper. That's the kind of guy I respect, and he's no bullshit. He just tells it to you straight, whether you like him, love him, or hate him. It's irrelevant. We're actually coming up here, taking just a quick walk. This just popped into my head on a whim. I'll check into that one too, Tyler. I've been waiting for this area to kind of clear out and die down a little bit. Because when we first came in here last winter, I had a doe that didn't make it through the winter laying right here. And I had her all covered up and everything, trying to protect her. This was before we started building the shelter. And coyotes came along eventually. I think it was coyotes. Came along and grabbed her. And just spread her out over the area. So I've been waiting for this area to kind of calm down a little bit, because this is a pretty thick thicket patch, to come up here and start looking for her bones. So that's what I am just sort of doing here now. There's still some pretty thick patches in here, but we're up here looking for deer bone right now. She was a pretty good sized doe. Her bones and her skull should be around here somewhere. They wouldn't have drug her off too far. They would have drug her off far enough where they thought that they had some privacy to eat her up. There's a couple of larger bushcrafter channels that actually, you know, they don't bring it across like they're just out here trying to make money and show off. That they're actually fucking men. And that's hard to find, man. I think it's not just bushcraft, it's just society in general. It's hard to fucking find a cowboy anymore. It's hard to find a fucking outlaw. We're a dying breed. Everybody wants to be PC and pussies. And I don't know what the fuck motivated guys to turn into what they've turned into, but Jesus Christ. Half of them, I just want to go up and punch them in the fucking throat. Just so they can say that they got hit once. I don't know. Man, survival's supposed to be for the fittest. How do all these goddamn pussies who run the moderators, anytime somebody says something negative about them, or says, you know what, you're a fucking dumbass, or, I mean, just society in general, they're all a bunch of fucking pussies. If survival's for the fittest, which is a law of nature, how the fuck are you still alive? How the fuck are you gonna make it anywhere in life? And a lot of them's these goddamn, 20-something-year-olds who've never actually been in a fucking scrap in their life, which is their problem. They never got their ass whooped. I run into that just last night. My little brother is, a 20-something. And he come up here and to visit me last night. Him and his fiance came up for a visit. First time I've seen him in almost a year. I'm not seeing any bones up here. So he comes up here and he tells me that this kid back home jumped him, came up and hit him from behind, hit him in the back of the head, knocked him down to the ground, and then took off running like a little bitch. Just sucker punched him in the back of the head and took off running. So, and he's telling me this like he wants me to fucking drive 200 fucking miles and do something about it. I said, do what I fucking do. Go to his fucking house, sit on his fucking front porch, and dare his ass to either come out or call the cops. You gotta fucking stand up for yourself. This goddamn bullshit. Don't run to your big brother just because some guy sucker punched you. Go out there and fucking beat his ass. Do whatever you gotta do to settle that score. That's how we did it. You can't let that shit stand. And it ain't about the legality of it. It ain't about the consequences or, the cops coming at you. Because I guarantee you, back home, that place is so fucking small. If you get in a scrap with somebody, the cops will come out and talk to you. And that's going to be the end of it. Just to make sure that the fight is over. But they expect you to take care of your own shit. Because they don't want to fucking deal with it. All the way through my fucking childhood, man, I fucking got into fight after fight after fight. I got scars all over me from fighting. If you guys pay attention to my live stream and I can actually turn around the camera around, I got a scar across my forehead that I got in a bar fight over my sister. Somebody fucking mouthed off about my sister. I mouthed off about his wife. Next thing I know, my drunk ass is getting choke slammed onto the top of the bar. I bounced off of the bar, fell down to the floor, and whenever I hit the floor, top of my head hit the fucking, this rail that went across the bottom of the bar, busted me wide open. I got up off of that floor, popped up instantly, Fucking chased that guy back to his house and sat out on his front porch until the cops showed up. Bleeding all over, had blood all over my fucking face, and I would not leave that motherfucker's front porch until he was coming out. Even when the cops came, had their guns drawn on me and everything. I'm like, that motherfucker getting his ass whooped tonight, one way or another. Well, cops haul me off to jail. So I go to the county jail, and they book me in, and they say, we're gonna keep you here until you sober up, Steve. And I'm like, all right. So I sit down in the little fucking drunk tank for a few hours, and I kind of sober up, and I'm fuming, and I'm stewing, and they kept coming in and checking on me. You all right, Steve? And I was like, no, you let me out here, I'm gonna go beat that sumbitch's ass. Then they'd come back a few hours later and say, hey, Steve, how you feeling now? And I'm like, you know what, I just want to go home. And they're like, okay, well, he's not gonna press any charges on you because, you know, you didn't really do anything except sit on his porch, so we're gonna let you go home. Just go home, sleep it off, and hopefully that's the end of it. Guess what Steve did? Steve went back to the sumbitch's house, went right up in his fucking house, and beat his ass in his own fucking living room, and got arrested again that night, and then got charged with assault. And he didn't have to press the charges that time because the sheriff done let me go and said, you can go home with no charges, and I went back and beat his ass inside his own house. So now, they could have got me with breaking and entering, but I didn't really break anything to enter. I just knocked on the door. I said, hey, can we talk? And he's like, sure. So I went into his living room and we had a conversation where there wasn't really a conversation. I got into his living room after he invited me in, and then things just kind of went south. Mostly him going south. And, you know, that's just how we did it back then. But that was 20 years ago, too. That was almost before my brother was born. So my brother comes up last night and he goes, hey, you know, this happened and this happened and this happened. Like, fucking do what I did. It's the same sheriff. He expects you to do it. You got the fucking family name, go up there and beat his fucking ass. But no, my little brother's a puss. He's one of those new age pusses. Coming all the way up here to fucking get me to go back home and fight his fights for him. And that's what I run into in the outdoors community. That's what I run into on social media all over the places. These goddamn pussies. Never been in a fight in their life and don't know how to handle one if they are in one. And they call themselves men. Damn that cognac. Alright guys. Been walking around camp here for a little bit. We're going to go up here one more time, take a look around. We're going to talk about what we're going to do in our next live stream. Starting to lose my voice from talking so much. So, we'll get up here and look at this one last time before we cut this thing off. The only thing we got left to do on this build is the fireplace and or the chimney and the front door, and the rest of it's just detail work, filling in the gaps between the walls and the roof and shit like that. This is just stuffing stuff in there really, and then packing it in clay. Me? I'm in Northeast Ohio. So we go ahead and pick up our log here. We keep it nice and safe. We've been using this same piece of wood, to haul all of the stone, all of the clay, all of the everything up here for this build, and that little piece of wood. Same piece of wood the entire time. So we got our fireplace in, and I would love that, Tyler. It'd be awesome as fuck to hang out with you. We got our fireplace in. We're going to put a flat stone over top of that on the next build, and we're going to start closing this box in. So that's going to go by quick. Because we got the fireplace up about as high as we wanted. We just bring the flat stone in, and then we're just filling in the gaps on both sides with clay and stone. And then we're running our chimney on up to the top. So that's going to be a fairly quick project, but the chimney's got to go up into about 3 sections so we can handle the weight on top of all of that wet clay. Going to be doing, that's our task for the next live stream. To get this box here closed in. That'll close in our entire back wall. We did our inside chinking today, so this top triangle that you see right here will be nice and stable to attach that chimney to. So we close in the box now, run the chimney up. Welcome back, Dixie. We're just wrapping it up now. So that's our goal for the next time, is to get that hole in the backside of the build completely closed up and start running our chimney. That will be a quick process. I'll have everything ready to go for that. Today, of course, we came in and we put the crystal inside of the wall, the back wall, that we got completely closed. Now it's dark as fuck in here. We can't see any light. This is, okay, there's our gap down at the bottom where our key is at. We gotta be closing that in next time. And then here is the crease going all the way up on what we did today. We have no daylight on either side of that, which is what we wanted. And then of course you can't see it now, but we got all of the crystals put into our wall. So we have a crystal wall here. We're building with crystal now. And then after we get that done, we'll be processing up some more wood. We had to get a few more pieces of wood to build our door and close in these gaps right here. These gaps right here get filled with cellulose plant material, which is the inner insulation, and then that plant material is just covered in clay. So we shove in the plant material, we pack it with clay, that merges our roof to our stone wall, and that'll be done. And that's another, you know, 5-10 minute process doing each side of this. Once we get that done, then we start running our winter footer, where we'll start bringing in some extra material to run around the bottom part of the shelter where we don't get drafting across the floor. And then we're going to be putting us together a Bushcraft broom to be able to sweep off all of that shit on the inside of our stone floor. So the next live stream, guys, by the time the next live stream ends, we're going to have to light this sumbitch up with lanterns, because there's not going to be any daylight be able to get in there like you see what's coming in through the door now, or through the fireplace now. That's all going to be closed in. So we'll have it lit up on that back wall. After that back wall dries, we'll have it lit up with lanterns and candles, and maybe a fire going in there, see how it reflects off of that floor and off of that back wall. And that will be the end of our next live stream. The next live stream is probably going to go for about 4 hours, maybe a little bit longer. So it's going to be a long stream next Sunday. And we're going to start off a little bit later, actually, rather than earlier for a longer stream. We're going to start off about 4 or 5 o'clock next week. That way we can be out here hanging out after dark. So we'll be hanging out here at camp after dark. Might even do an overnighter, something like that. We do have an overnighter coming up on the channel. Our Friday night episode, next Friday night's episode, is going to be 12 hours in the woods overnight with no gear. And that includes no headlamp, no light source whatsoever. That is the next episode, the Halloween episode of the Huntsman series. Friday night, we're going to go out. We're going to be filming it on infrared cam. So the entire episode is going to be filmed on infrared cam. We're going to be hiking through the woods in the middle of the night with nothing, not even a headlight lamp, no knife, no survival gear, no backpack. It's just going to be me, the infrared camera, and that's it. So we're spending 12 hours in the woods. It happens to be a woods that has an old cemetery from the 1800s in the middle of it. And that's what we're going to be doing next Friday night, on next Friday night's episode of the regular Huntsman series that comes out every Friday night at 8. All night hike, 12 hours in the woods with nothing but an infrared camera to film the experience. So if you ever want to see what it is you do and what it is you go through trying to hike through the woods in this kind of terrain at night with no light, tune in to next Friday's episode. And then next Sunday, we'll get back out here to the Bushcraft build, and we'll be closing in that back square that you see right there in the doorway. Yeah, it's going to be a good damn time. We're going to be heading out now, guys. I'm heading out anyway. I don't know what y'all are doing. I do apologize for the technical difficulty today. Y'all didn't get to see me much in this live stream, except for when I was actually building on it. And that's just because of the camera not wanting to turn around where I could see the live chat and you guys could see me at the same time, which is the norm. Always something new. Trying to cross the creek here. start making our way out. As I slowly start making my way out, I'm like taking stock of everything in my pockets and in my backpack to wrap this all up, make sure I don't leave anything out here. Actually, gotta sit you guys down real quick for 1 second so I can go through my backpack. I gotta check on one other piece of gear. Well, we're taking a look at the camp from a distance. There it is. Our little bushcraft build up there on the top of the cliff. That's a pretty good picture of it. It looks tiny. All that work we put into it, that build looks tiny as shit sitting there, don't it? Makes you feel, it really makes you realize how small you are out here in this wilderness. No matter how big of the forest, you know, that you're building in, if you take a few steps back away from your shelter, you realize how insignificant to the big picture you really are. Yeah, we got a fireplace in the shelter. We're going to be closing that in next week. So if you tune in next Sunday night, we're going to be coming out here. We'll start streaming at about 4 or 5 o'clock next Sunday. I'll put out notices on when we're going to start that live stream. We're going to close that fireplace in and get our chimney started. So we have a chimney on this build. Yep. Yeah, this is about this build is a 12 by 15. So not that big, but a little bit bigger than a 10 by 10 tarp. You know, and we're using the materials that we have within a 50-yard radius of it. Everything in that build is within a 50-yard radius of the build itself. And then we just use the terrain to our advantage too, with that downward slope that will draw water away from the camp or away from the structure itself, so that structure is never going to have water in it just because it's sitting at an angle. The water source, which obviously brings down all the stone that we've been using to build our stone walls, and some of the crystals that we've been embedding into our back wall. Everything is right here. Everything that we need is right here. So yep, there it is, guys. All right, I gotta be heading out. It's getting a little darker now. I do not have any lights with me aside from my little lamp that I actually had left inside of the shelter. It's got a rechargeable battery in it, and I left it out here for a week, and I came out here and it still had a full charge. That's the kind of gear that I like carrying with me. So just hiking out now. Thank you guys for coming along with me on this semi-boring live stream. We had a little bit of downtime as far as talking goes, to get some of the building out of the way and get that back wall completely done. Now all we have to do is focus on getting that fireplace done and our door on, which is why we're going to have a really big stream next week to try to get those 2 projects done during the stream. And then our Bushcraft build series will be all but over. Once we get the fireplace done and the fireplace chimneys project done, fireplace is already there. We just got to put the chimney on and get our door put on. That's the last of the construction part. The rest of it's just minor detailing. So that'll be the last episode of the live Bushcraft build series. We're going to go for about, I think, maybe 24, 25 episodes. This is episode 22. And our build is going to be done, and this live stream bit is going to be done. I'll take a little bit of a break. It'll just be Friday night episodes after that, and some bonus material. A few other projects we got going on. I'm going to take my ass out deer hunting. We're going to try to get a deer this next week and get him home, and we're going to show you how to butcher it and slice and dice and put it in your freezer. So we're going to try to get that up on the channel too. A lot of other things coming around, so we got to get this Bushcraft build done just so we have it ready to go for winter. Once we get the entire project done as far as the building goes, with all of the minor detailing aside, then we'll have us one last live stream in the live Bushcraft build series where we are doing nothing but hanging out at camp. It'll be our first overnighter at the build, and it's just going to be us hanging out there, having us a fucking party, enjoying what we spent the entire year building. So our last episode in the live Bushcraft build series is going to be an overnight trip down here with a shit ton of beer, a little bit of food, fire going in a brand new fireplace, and just enjoying the build and all of the work that we put into it. And I hope you guys can hang out with me for that. We'll probably be live streaming on and off throughout the night on that one. So people who are subscribed to my channel that are in a different time zone and they might not be up, you know, to catch these things all the time, you might be able to catch the finale where we're staying out here overnight. And every couple of hours we stream for a half an hour or 45 minutes or an hour or something like that. And everybody can get a chance to look at this build live. Look at all of our deer tracks up in here. Again, thank you guys for coming with me. If you haven't yet and you're still here, you're just coming in, hit that thumbs up. Share this stream out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit. Let everybody know this kind of shit is going on. We will be back next Sunday for another live stream where we're going to be putting on our chimney and our door, hopefully. If nothing gets in the way between now and then, we'll get that done in one stream. So we will be back here streaming for 3 or 4 hours next Sunday night, and we're going to try to stream until after dark. So we'll be hanging out at camp after dark, and then we'll do a little night hike. So with that, guys, I'm almost to the thicket patch where I have to cut this off so I can protect my iPhone from getting knocked off or anything like that. And I'm going to be cutting off the live stream. Just cross the creek the last time. I actually have to cross this creek 3 times to get back to my camp. A little bit of a safe space back there. Really appreciate everybody that came along with me, hung out with me through the boring parts, shared this out, hit that thumbs up, and keep coming back for more. I'll see you guys next week.